And boom, we're on. And today's guest, we've got Matt Fiddes. How are you, Matt?
Thanks for having me on. We've been trying to organise this for a while.
Yeah, but the time is now, brother. It's a fascinating story. Entrepreneur, multi-millionaire, but the biggest one out there is you were Michael Jackson's bodyguard for over 10 years, like one of the biggest superstars of all time. And you were not just the bodyguard sitting outside the room, you were actually inside the room. Not just his bodyguard also, but his friend. And a very interesting story. And like I say, Michael Jackson's name will always bring views, it will always bring attention. But first and foremost, how are you?
I'm great. It's good to be here with you in London, and yeah, it's great. And I want to try and inspire people. I admire what you do, James. I think you're onto something here with your podcast.
Thank you.
All my friends who've been on it are raving to me. Do James English's podcast, like Alfie Best and Kurt Norcross. They just, yeah, I think you, the way your interview style and the way you go where others don't, it's brilliant.
Yeah, they're good guys you've mentioned there. I wish them nothing but the best in life. Alfie's a great guy. He's also a new documentary on Amazon, which we'll give a little plug, so go and watch it, people. But before we get into everything, Matt, I always like to go back to the start with my guests, get more of an understanding of you, where you grew up and how it all began.
Yeah, so I was just your typical, I wouldn't say we were poor, normal family, where my mum was a stay-at-home mum. My dad worked at the Brunel Railway in Swindon. So I'm from Swindon, born in Swindon. And I went to school 5 years old, and I was horrendously bullied. I mean, I was picked on by one guy in particular, and from age 5 to 7, and that gave me the hunger to look after, to try and defend myself. And when you're underconfident, James, I didn't do very well at school. I failed all my GCSE exams. Now, part of that was because I wasn't academically driven. So my mum's one of 14 children. My mum went on to be a solicitor. They've all got university degrees. So from my dad's side, they've all get a trade, become an electrician, become a plumber. You know, my grandfather used to give me lectures about what you throwing your legs around in the air for. That's not going to get you in there. My dad used to call the martial arts legalized violence. None of my family supported it. But my mum, bless her, used to say, there's no such word as can. You can achieve whatever you want. So I started martial arts due to the school bully. And it was the best thing, being bullied. I know some of your viewers, listeners might be thinking, what the heck? But being bullied was the catalyst for the whole thing in my life. If it weren't for the kid next to me who said, you need to defend yourself against this guy. He's called Anthony. We're good friends now, by the way, which we'll get onto later. Anthony, you need to defend yourself. Come to this martial arts class. None of this would have happened. The Michael Jackson stuff, the money, the business, everything, the success, the biggest brand in the world in martial arts. So I went to martial arts class with my friend to defend myself. The first class I took with jiu-jitsu, and I didn't like it so much. I didn't like the people rolling on top of me and all that sweaty men on top of me. So it wasn't for me. I'm obviously, I can't tell on the podcast, but I'm 6'4", so I've always had very long, lanky legs. In the room next door, there was taekwondo. And for whatever reason, I could already do the high kicks, the splits. I could already do that. I do believe a lot in genetics. My grandfather on my mum's side, he was 7 times Irish weightlifting champion, was picked for the 1960 Rome Olympics. I never inherited his bodybuilding type physique. He used to train with Schwarzenegger when he was in London and people like that. They didn't like each other, but he hoped out of one of his 14 kids, someone to have an athletic drive. Then he had all these grandchildren burst out, and I'm the only one who's shown the athletic side. So he took me under his wing. So I was lucky to be mentored in that area. And he pushed me, even though I was doing bad at school, and he wanted all his children to be university graduates. He pushed me to pursue this martial arts dream. I just knew for some reason this is what I wanted to do. I found something where I went to and I got praise from my tutor, my instructor. You're good at this. You're fantastic. Rather at school, being told I'm rubbish at this, no good, trying to avoid the bullies, getting beaten up in the playtime, and so on. So bullied kid at school. No one paid attention to me. They assumed I was right-handed. I was in fact left-handed. They didn't find out until I was 14 years old. Bit too late to correct that. So I can't write. I can write to myself, but you won't understand it. I can understand it. But honestly, James, it hasn't held me up. I have to sign an autograph or sign a signature. When I get to hotels and stuff, my wife does the paperwork. I sign the bottom bit. In fact, the hotel I stayed last night was cool. It was done on an iPad, so it's even better. And left school, no qualifications. I lived in Swindon. Like I said, I didn't want to step on top of my martial arts instructor's footsteps because that's not a thing you do. It's very respectful of the martial arts. So moved to a place called Barnstable in North Devon. My parents didn't believe that this was the right path. They were very mad at me for failing my GCSEs. And I lived in a bedsit for £30 a week with my girlfriend at the time. And yeah, got evicted 3 times, got into a rented property eventually, and then something clicked. I started studying Tony Robbins and find people out there and model them who's already doing it. And I saw people in America. Back then we had no internet. We had MySpace and a bit of email. Back in 97, I heard out there people were making multi-millionaires out of martial arts business. And I saved up enough money working for £2.75 as a lifeguard, which was pretty painful because in the summer you got loads of work, and in the tourist area in the winter there's nothing. And then charging £3 a class for my martial arts classes, but I wasn't doing it right like I am now. I got a flight to a convention in San Francisco where there was literally over 1,000 multimillionaires being mentored by a business guru who's in his 80s. He recognized his 17-year-old, admired the fact I used my last money to fly out and get to the convention. I went out to introduce myself. People don't do that, and it's not normal. And he said, listen, you come up to introduce yourself. This guy, he owns shares in Marriott hotels, very successful man, Nicholas Kokinas. He said, I want to take you under my wing. I want to make an example of you. You use your last money to come here. You're so young. And for him, it would have been a big project to have like a case study, So he did that. And he got me to follow the greatest business in the martial arts sector in America. I spent 2 weeks getting up at 4 a.m, taking notes down. He didn't know if it's going to work in the UK, this new concept. And he said, but try it. And I brought it back to the UK. And long story short, some of it did, some of it didn't. The high fives and the hugs don't work in the UK. But I was the first guy to put people on standing order payments for martial arts, to professionalize it, take out the dark ages, put music on the lessons, have an educational element. So everything the school system teaches, and there's a gap, we teach. So they don't teach like goal setting, determination, good debt, bad debt. But you're going to have challenges in life, good manners, fire safety, water safety, stranger danger, online, offline. Kids are sat down, they have a topic for the month, they get homework. The topic could be like good manners, and it's all built around that for a month. So it's packaged around great martial arts tuition, but with life skills like a private school. We don't call ourselves the Fiddes Martial Arts Clubs. We are a private school. We teach everything the academic system, the government don't teach. And that's how I built my career.
Why do you think bullying is such a massive trigger for people to either become the hero or the villain? But why do you think it's so crucial in people's lives? Like every criminal I've interviewed are bullied. They were bullied at some stage. Some people you've used it as a positive and done a lot of positives in life. You've went down the other route, which is it's not many people do that. Because a lot of people have anger, vengeance.
Yeah.
They want to hit back and kind of fight back and retaliate. But you went down the other route. Why do you think bullying is a massive thing though for people in life?
I had all that. I had the anger and the vengeance. I wanted to show the bully, I'm going to make this happen, I wanted to show my mum and dad, I'm going to make my grandparents and my family. I want to prove to everyone. One of my other brothers is very academic. He went to university to his 29, got degrees in car design, went to apprenticeship at Ferrari. Incredible, academically driven. But for me, it just wasn't me. But I think you got to use it as a catalyst to where it may be. Some people may go down the drug route, the crime route. For me, it was, I will show you, the hunger was in my belly, I will show you and prove you wrong, and I'm going to get you one day, in terms of defend myself. Yeah. That never happened, of course, because martial arts teach you to avoid conflict, not if you're doing it the right way, the right instructors. But no, you're right. From every successful person in the world, or every criminal, there's a pain point that's driven them to get there. So I know a lot of entrepreneurs and millionaires and billionaires, they've all had a pain point in their life which they do not want to return to. So people by nature avoid pain and work towards pleasure. And for me, it got me, I wanted vengeance. I wanted to get back on them.
Do you think that's just like a little shield? Because success and materialism, it doesn't take away the pain. It helps, of course. And people say, yeah, but I'd rather cry in a fucking Ferrari than anything else. But the real flex is not crying. The real flex is trying to enjoy life and being happy as you can be, for my own opinion, and try to learn through the years and try to understand life a bit more, where I can give people an understanding of it who watch or listen, because I'm still trying to figure it out. I've interviewed so many different people and I realise that nobody's got a clue what the fuck is going on. We all talk a good game. We all run businesses. We all try and do well. We all try and succeed. But everybody's defines success differently. But for me, looking at it, a man who provides for his family, a man who's there, that's the real success for me. The man who really puts it together.
And and this is stuff that's come with wisdom, James, that I'm 44, so now I know the stuff I try and mentor other business owners, entrepreneurs, or my franchisees. it's hard to teach that stuff because you have to go through the school of hard knocks, maybe go for a divorce, you lose a loved one, you know, you can't, what really matters, I did this TV show, Rich House, Poor House, the 2 episodes, and you swap families. And honestly, my kids, I've got 6 children, my children were more happy with having daddy not allowed to be on his phone in a council house in a tough estate on a budget of £110 a week than living in the mansion with the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Bentleys, iPads. They're more happy. And when they interviewed them privately, it was, this program has changed my dad. We've got daddy back. And normally I'll go to expensive, like Legoland or something like that with them. No issue, VIP treatment. I was going to graffitied play parks that were just like ruins, but they were just so happy there. And they had little plastic toys to play with. And yeah, I've never seen them so happy. So it's a big learning curve. Success is a journey. It's not a destination. So it's right in what you say. I am not content. I should be. And my wife has to remind me a lot of the times, what's wrong with you? Why do you still got this drive? Because you've pretty much materialistic stuff, got everything, but that's not enough for me. There's nothing else I can buy. It's a fire in my belly. And the bullying never stops, James. I get bullied every day. I get trolled. I get hated on. That's life. And you've got to learn to accept that if you want to be an entrepreneur. Michael Jackson used to tell me, if you haven't got people talking about you, then there's something wrong. And Uri Geller used to teach me a very important lesson. The haters, the trolls, the people that talk about you, they're free publicists. Have as many of them as you possibly can. And like people who buy likes and followers, I wish you could buy haters because they're the best publicists in the world. They make you go viral. They make your news stories go crackers, you know. And I've seen this with billionaires, megastars behind the doors. They sit down and think, how can we make the whole world talk about us? And that's what makes you successful. You've got to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah. It's like, because it's like a contradiction with me sometimes. One time I know I just should be back in Scotland with the family, the dogs, and everything's amazing. But there's part of me wants to succeed and raise the bar and travel and do all the other stuff to then provide a life for the family as well. So it's, you can't be there back there if I can't. But again, I know the best things in life are free, and as cheesy as that shit is, it's so fucking true. But it's to try and find the balance, which I think I'm okay at. But what do you think that is with people that they can't settle, they can't feel content with everything that they have? Is that greed? Is that, what is that? Yeah,
well, I was married before. I call her my rehearsal wife rather than ex-wife. We get on very well. We've got 3 daughters with her. We got.
You better hope so, mate. After that,
she's married. She's married happily, and actually, Jamie, she's married to her husband. It does work for me. He's got a maintenance business for my properties, and it's funny actually because when people pricing up jobs and he's around, he's obviously stepfather to my 3 oldest daughters, and they're trying to, it's Matt Fiddes, we can put a bigger invoice in, and he's like, you do realise I'm stepdad, so they don't realise the decorator behind the scenes is like insider for me. But we have a great relationship, me and Marcy do, and she's been awesome with the kids. So at first with divorces, when the family get involved, it can be a bit tough, but one thing we've done is put the kids first. So we don't have this half brother, half sister business. I've got 3 daughters with her and 2 boys and a daughter with Monique, my wife. And it really was a rehearsal because I needed to learn what was important, because I ruined that marriage. It's my fault because I was a workaholic. And then when I got home, I didn't appreciate she had 3 babies to look after. I would say hi to the kids for a bit, put my gym gear on, because I peak in my early 20s, and then 9:15, go to the gym until 10:30 to get my workout in. And then I couldn't sleep, so I was so buzzed up from training. I'd be up to 2 in the morning working. And then when Michael clicked his fingers, I would, wrongly or rightly, I would jump to wherever he was in the world to help him. I felt like I kind of got pulled into that. And he was my mate and he was vulnerable. So my first marriage was ruined by me being selfish and putting my career goals and success first, when in fact I could have retired at 22. But it comes back to, what the hell am I going to do? I tried it. I ended up on antidepressants and sleeping pills. My friends have to go to work still. There's nothing to do. There's only so many holidays you can do. I don't drink, don't smoke. Mm-hmm. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm 44. I've got to do something. So I like my thrill. When you really get down to it, I love changing people's lives. I love it when kids get a black belt, mum and dad's crying, bullied at school, no longer bullied. They're labelled with all these conditions. I'm not saying they don't exist, but when I did start my career, they didn't exist. It's just naughty kids. Now we've got autism, this, all these levels, and ADHD. Parents bring them to us because we treat everyone as an individual, not as a group like the school system does. And I love seeing these kids which are given these conditions, and I make them become confident, successful, give them positive role models, and change lives. That's what keeps me buzzing and making people millionaires. I love doing all that.
How long did it take you to get a black belt?
This is the old system, right? So it took me. I started martial arts when I was 7. I was black belt by the time I was 12.
5 years.
Yeah,
That's
so
faster.
That's fast. But I was training like 6 days a week. I was a bit of a Bruce Lee in that. Getting up at 4 in the morning. We had one TV in the house. I know everyone's sport now with their own TVs in every room. But I used to get up early to watch Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, Bruce Lee. Before the family got up, I knew my mum and dad would tell me off because it's over 18 stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was a martial arts nuts, complete fanatic, trained all the time. And now you get your black belt quicker because modern world, we know it's not about the time it takes. I could take someone and train him in 6 months, and they'll be better than someone who trains once a week for 20 years. It's about the intensity you put in it. We've come a long way in the last 27, 28 years.
Did you ever come across Jeff Thompson?
Yeah. He's one. I used to read him in the magazines.
Unbelievable.
Martial Arts Illustrated.
Yeah.
Fantastic guy. Yeah. He was one of the pioneers of getting the martial arts in the mainstream. Jeff was. And as a kid, I used to ride my BMX bike, buy Martial Arts Illustrated magazine, read all about Jeff Thompson and Alfie Lewis and everyone. And yeah, and I ended up being the one. The editor, Bob Sykes of Martial Arts Illustrated, said, other than Bruce Lee, I have had the most front covers due to the controversy around making money with martial arts. And also got a lot, thousands, hundreds of thousands of students who go and buy it. And he used to wind them up. But yeah, Jeff was one of the originals. And yeah, you know, one of the real iconic
I've had
legends,
Jeff
him and Alfie Lewis.
And his story's deep as well and dark from what he went through in his past and from the bouncer and that. And then he just clicked and he's just absolute animal. If you seen Jeff in the street, you wouldn't think anything of it.
Nah.
That's the scary thing about martial artists and shit. Because I used to train in a grip house and do a bit of Muay Thai, and you would like skateboarders, and you would never think of it, and they would never raise their voice or get angry. But if I go to the pub with the boys who can't fight, everybody's loud and daft and they think they can take on the world. It's so fucking crazy when you think about it. How did they, so you went through all that, obviously people want to know the Michael Jackson stuff, but that all came from meeting Uri Geller.
Yeah.
How did that start?
So I had 5 schools. I made this business streamlined. I was making $1.5 million a year with the 5 schools. Profit. I had no overheads. I mean, I'd like school halls, £15 for the whole night, and a building in Barnstable which cost me £250 a month in rent. I had no overheads. So when you got 1,500 students paying you on average of £60 a month, plus the other thing, exam fees and merchandise, it soon adds up. So in North Devon, I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's very isolated, where you've got Barnstable, Bideford, Ilfracombe, South Molton, and that's basically a cut-off area. So it's like 5 towns and 5 schools. The next place is a place called Tiverton, which is about 40 miles away. In my mind, I felt I couldn't go there because who am I going to get to work for me? It's hard enough to get people to work for me as I could, James. I was 18 and I was employing 40-year-olds, 35-year-olds working for an 80-year-old. They found that very strange, but we had the martial arts respect there, so it worked. So I was in the reception of my main building, our martial arts school in Barnstable, and a guy comes up to me, I remember his name. I need to look him up actually and thank him at some stage. A guy called Nick Constable. And he said, Matt, I work for Southwest News Agency. I've got a boy and a girl who trains with you. We love what you do. I know you were bullied at school. You've got no qualifications, and I see your Ferrari parked outside. Any chance I can interview you? And a picture of you in the car, and put it try and get it in the newspaper. I was thinking local newspaper, right? So I had 2 goals. Tony Robbins called it significance. I was looking for recognition. I've made it. I've done it. I've proved the bullies wrong. I've proved my parents wrong. Everyone had doubted me. I've actually done it. I'm making crazy money, turned my passion into my profession. I was the first in the industry to do this as well in the UK. I got hated on it big time, gossiped about, but that's just the way it is. And anyway, did the interview, and he said to me, "I'll put this on the wire." I didn't know what that meant, and I thought it was the local paper. Nothing happened for about 3 days. And this is back when mainstream media was massive, like 97, 98. So tabloids would get 20 million publications picked up a day. There was no online news. The next day, 3 days later, my landline was ringing off the hook. I walked into town, everyone's staring at me, talking about me. And I was on the front page of every single, the Mail, the Sun, the Mirror, the lot, the Guardian. Bully boy becomes millionaire. And I had a picture of me in the car, me doing a punch, and a flashback to a picture for me in my school photo of when I was like 7 years old. I was like, wow, this is intense. I thought local newspaper. So I want to have that significance of being the local paper, end up being international news. And my other dream was the magazine I used to buy, what Jeff Thompson was always in. Yeah. I wanted to be featured in that. The editor made me work for that. He called me up and said, look, you're in the news, but you need to come to Huddersfield where Martial Arts Illustrated's headquarters were and fight me. And this guy's got like 10 ninth dans and stuff. And I want you to fight me. You make a lot of money. I'll see you the real deal. And if you are, I'll put you on the front cover. And I'm like, whoa, that's like a dream. I should drive my BMX bike with my pocket money to buy that magazine every month. And I did that. I got beaten up, but he said at the end of it, fair play. Yeah, you're different. And then he put me on the front cover. He'd be doing a flying kick, top corner. I was so proud. And then I ended up being on the front cover all the time. It was one of the things. But Nick Hunstable's story led to mainstream media going viral. And then TV producers look for stories back then by going through the newspapers. They do it online in newspapers nowadays. They saw I was an interesting case for shows. So I ended up, I think you'll remember these shows, like Trisha was a big time morning show. I was on there. Kilroy, Esther Ramson, Richard and Judy, GMTV back then. And then that came to the attention of Uri Geller. And he's, in the UK, he's known for spoon bending. A bit like Tony Robbins is known for the fire walking, right?
And moving the fucking ball, Euro 96 in the Scotland game. You need to tell him what have a
He
word
owns an island in Scotland.
Yeah, apparently he says he moved the ball with the Euros. McAllister missed that against
he'll be
England.
watching this. He watches everything I do. But Uri is world famous in every country in the world. I don't think UK's ever really given him the respect he deserves because he's property tycoon. Incredible. He used to tell me that you don't build any more land, Matt. Stop buying these Ferrari. Invest your money in property. Maybe buy 5 houses per month. He was quite tough on me. I hated him for it back then. I love him for it now. And he's also so positive, you know, like the way he thought, his mindset, keeping you healthy. So it'd be quite tough on me, James. But he took me under his wing. He trusted me with his inner circle.
Why?
I don't know. I never asked him the question. I should do, shouldn't I? Even now we talk every day. He's got his museum, the Uri Geller Museum, the things when he worked with Elvis Presley and what he gave in John Lennon and all his life. So he's famous for 50 years and stayed relevant. But I don't know. I guess because I was already financially independent, I didn't need anything from him. His home is incredible. Next to George Clooney's home in Solomon-on-Thames, it's like a £20 million palace, replica of the White House. So when those gates opened and I went to visit him for the first time, I'm thinking, I want to be where this guy is. You know, I knew the spoon bending thing was a UK more thing. When you go around the world with Uri Geller, it's more about him filling stadiums, about mind power, positive thinking, setting goals, never give up. Much like what Anthony Robbins does. Just he does a fire at Uri does the spoons, bending metal and so forth. But he took me under his wing. I guess he saw something in me, became very close to my mother, our family. And he wanted to make a video about bullying. So he wanted to meet me. And he sent his people to contact me. He wanted to do mindset to avoid bullies and avoid them and stay positive. You can be it even without school qualifications and have me do the self-defense side. And we were going to give it free to all the schools at that time. We didn't end up doing that video. We ended up doing a video where we did 4 videos, VHS ones, worldwide release, where he did positive mind thinking, power of the mind. And I came on, did kickboxing and aerobics. It was like #1 in Asia and all around the world because I don't know if you know, Uri Geller's a Pokemon figure, Uri Geller. And so from Nintendo, so he was massive in Asia and stuff. So went to #1 around there and I was promoting this video with him. Yeah. And then once he let me in his doors and we got this trust, I mean, he became father along with Michael and everyone for my first child. And also Michael's best friend, Mark Lester, who played the original Oliver Twist. I'm Please Sir, Give Me More, the film, the original one. They're the same age, they grew up together. He trusted me, big style. He knew I didn't, you know, I kept secrets very well and looked after him too. And yeah, then my life just took another step it went mental.
Yeah, it's
One
mad
phone
that
call
he's
changed my life.
Yeah, it's mad that he's known for the spoon, but like you say, he's an
Only-
entrepreneur and there's more to it.
Yeah. Do you know what he says? You can't be a prophet in your hometown, meaning that all the TV shows he's got around the world, the next Uri Geller phenomenon in America is where people audition to be like him, a bit like X Factor, Britain's Got Talent. He's actually a judge on Israel's Got Talent. He just feels that there's a saying that you can't be a prophet in your own town. They will hate on you the most. Like Michael Jackson never toured America. He was hated by Americans. Not everyone, obviously, but he couldn't pull off a tour there on his own. You know, for all the big tours you know about, he avoided America. He didn't want to live there. He lived most of the time in the UK. And same thing, can't be a prophet in your hometown. And I know that's true because when I got successful in North Devon, they gave me a flipping hard time. When I moved away, now when I go back, they shake my hand, thanks for putting Barnstable on the map. And I'm thinking, yeah, You put me through freaking hell, man.
Yeah.
Graffiti in the walls, kill Matt Fiddes. And negative, stupid stories, making stories up about me, and affairs and stuff, and gossiping. Now when I go back, they come and shake my hand. Can I have a selfie? You put Bottomsville on the map. And
It's weird that, innit? Glasgow, like, I get support in Glasgow, no, but there's a lot of fucking idiots as well that talk shit. People who think they know me, who were never in my company, says I get chased out of the place I was from, and he's not this guy, and he never done. And I'm thinking, you never even knew me anyway. And this is people. You think you would get the most support from the place, but that is a very true saying. That it makes sense.
Well, do you know, on that subject of people who don't know you, so most people have got an opinion of me, have never met me. All of them have never. I don't meet many people. I mean, I've got my tight inner circle. That's it. I've probably 5 or 6 people, close friends. I mean, that's the way it works. The higher you go up the ladder, the closer your friendship circle is. When I go to events, so Bob Sykes, who's editor of that magazine that Jeff Thompson used to be always in, Martial Arts Illustrated, the biggest one for martial arts in the world, he runs an event once a year called the UK Martial Arts Show. He said to me, Matt, do me a favour. I've done you a lot for you in your career. You've been on the cover, like, constantly. Just turn up for me at this martial arts show here. I just done Rich House Poor House at the time as well. And I was like, Bob, I don't know how they're going to react because I get trolled on by other martial artists for what I do because I make a lot of money from it. And although that tie's changed, a lot of people trying to copy me now because they realise you can turn your passionate professional and still have that high standards. So I did it for him. I went to Doncaster Dome. From the second I entered the building, I was absolute. So I made sure he had security there and everything because you can't. If I hit someone, knock someone out, I'm going to jail. I'll be all over the press. My career's over. I can't defend myself, right? I'd rather let someone beat me up because it'll kill my career because of the media. I just can't. It'll be Michael Jackson, knock someone out. They won't give me a fair go. As soon as I entered that martial arts convention, and there's probably 1,000, I got mobbed where to such an extent they had to form a queue of people in front of me. And Bob kind of knew this was going to happen. He's very clever. He's been in this industry a long time. He came over to me. He said, "You all right, Matt?" I said, "Yeah." I was sweating, selfie, signing their belts. He goes, "Listen, let me tell you something. You see that person in the queue down there? That's the person that's been trolling on you. To that person there, that's the person been sacking you. He's now they're queuing up. They're your real fans." And in that queue too, I had people like Master Scan, Sandy Holt, people I used to look at, all coming for a photo. And I'm thinking, wow, it's keyboard warriors, James. They don't really mean it. When you actually meet them face to face, they're your biggest fans. They're hating on you because they don't understand you. The problem is not with me, it's with them. It's their realization of their own world and their own environment. It's the problem.
Yeah.
They don't understand it. They don't. Once they get to meet me, I'm a normal guy. I wear a tracksuit. They call me, my builders laugh at me because when I have building construction, I'm 90% I'm in a tracksuit. I go outside and they're like, "You're the multi-millionaire. We're your builders. How come we're dressed better than you?" Don't make sense, but I'm not going to be saying I'm not. I like to think I'm a relatively normal, humble guy, and that's what's got me where I am.
So how did it then come about? You were
Right.
introduced to Michael Jackson, one of the biggest superstars of all time. Some people would claim he is the biggest of all time. Obviously, you've got the Beatles, Elvis, but how did it come about? You ended up Bodyguard and good friend with, again,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
So Uri Geller is world famous, and he mentored a lot of famous people on mindset, keeping them positive, private clients. I had no idea that Michael Jackson was one of them. He designed Michael's last album, Invincible, the cover of Invincible. He's a very good artist, Uri Geller is. And I didn't know any of this. Then I saw phone calls when I would go walking with Uri, phone calls from very famous people to ring and presidents and stuff like that. So 3 a.m., I get a phone call on the landline at home. That's not uncommon for Uri and people who are world famous because they've got multiple countries. They need to be doing TV interviews for Australia and so on. And he said, "You got to come to my house now." I was like, "Geez." I said, "I've only just got to bed already. I've been in bed an hour." I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I can't tell you. Come to my house now. I've never guided you wrong." "Okay, you got to tell me. I've got to tell my missus. I think I'm having an affair or something." He said, "Matt, trust me. I can't tell you. Got a Ferrari. Stop moaning. Get in your car. See you in a few hours. Love you. Bye." Put the phone on me. Looked up my missus in bed thinking, we had a massive row. And I got in a car, arrived at Uri's house. Nothing really gave any signals. The gates opened up, went down his driveway. There's 3 blacked out SUVs outside. I walk in and get into he's got many living rooms, but one of the living rooms he uses is a smaller one. And this guy stands up, frail guy, walks up to me and he bows to me. He says, "Hi, Master Fiddes. My name's Michael Jackson. Pleased to meet you." And first of all, I thought, because look, back then, James, we had all these prank TV shows, right? And Geller was a bit of a Yuri's a bit.
War selector.
Yeah. And Jeremy Beadle, there's another one too. The wind-up ones where they would get you and
Like a punk kind of thing, like somebody was dressing up as him.
I thought it was, I thought it was lookalike. He's having me on, and there's looking for secret cameras. And quite quickly, I realised he was dealing with the real deal here. You could tell right away, and I got on with him like a house on fire. It turns out he was a black belt. Joseph Jackson, his dad, made sure all the Jackson 5 were trained up in Kung Fu. So he studied martial arts to defend himself for obvious reasons. Jackson 5 been famous as his 5. And he wanted to take him and his best friend, Mark Lester, to the next level. He wanted to become a second degree. So Yuri's told him that you can trust Matt. He's a multi-millionaire. He won't need anything from you. I can organise for you to carry on your training. And he used martial arts. He's Bruce Lee fanatic, Michael was. He used martial arts to in his dance moves. If you watch his dance, he puts a kick in, he'll block every now and then and so forth. And that was the thing. He wanted me to take him to the next level. And the other agenda he was desperate. So he would study the world's greatest, learn from them, and implement that into his mindset and take it and put it into something. So he wouldn't ever say it's the Michael Jackson dance. He took the best from James Brown, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers. He put it all in Charlie Chaplin, put it all in his own unique style. And martial arts, Bruce Lee. So one of the first conversations we had is, listen, I'll do you a deal. You teach me how to break boards properly. I'll teach you the moonwalk. I said, that's fine, Mike. And the other thing too, I need to get to Bruce Lee's daughter and his ex-wife. Can you make it happen? I hear you can. And I was friends with somebody who knew Shannon Lee and also knew Linda Lee, Bruce's ex-wife. And I said to Mike, why do you want to meet them? He said, I want to find out why Bruce Lee's relevant. All these 40 years on, why is he still relevant? And why is he still the biggest martial arts star ever? What made him tick? What made him get up, train, work so hard? I want to speak to his ex-wife, learn from his daughter, absorb everything I can. And that was one of the first conversations we had. And from there on, we became firm friends for a year, back and forwards to America. He would fly me in and kept it secret. I mean, it was hard for me, James, because I was 18, 19, right? So I couldn't tell anyone where I was. My wife, I couldn't even tell my wife where I was just in case someone would get the blame for the paparazzi turning up. And he's very paranoid. So I'd rather just not tell anyone, including my wife, where we were in the world at any given time. And I was his mate at this point, like his bodyguard. So when I come home, people will say to me, where'd you do for the weekend? Where have you been for the last week? I'll make it up. I'll just say, went to a beach and stayed in, watched movies. I can't say I was hanging around with Britney Spears, Michael Jackson, Justin Timberlake, Daryl Hannah, David Blaine, Uri Geller. They think I'm flipping loopy. So I begged Michael in the end. I said, Mike, you got to help me out, man. I can't keep this thing secret. He said, okay. There's a book launch in London. Do you want to come with me? So yeah, I'll come with you. So we get ready. It takes like hours to get ready. He becomes Michael Jackson. It's all an act, right? You probably worked that one out. He's not really like Wacko Jacko. He's behind it all. Put all the makeup on and all the rest of it. It took him flipping hours to get he come out looking completely different, not like I've seen him before. And then we turn up and he got mobbed by paparazzi. And because I'm the martial arts guy, 6'4", I had big muscles back then. I don't need them anymore, so I let them go. I'm all about longevity now than that nonsense. Yeah. I was the guy protecting my mate who was very vulnerable, very shy from this media scrum, us going to this book launch. And then that story went viral. Matt Fiddes is now Michael Jackson's unofficial body. I wasn't on the payroll. And I think he knew what he was doing. I then found out, I could tell, he was under financial, massive distress. His security bill was $150,000 per month, just his personal security. That's without his kids. That's another security team. Neverland was $1 million a month to run. He had 150 security staff there. And I could tell. And his regular security guards he's had for 20 years through his Thriller bad era and dangerous tours had gone and retired. And he kept on changing them and he can no longer answer his phone around him and stuff. And I could tell he was hinting. And I said, look, I don't want nothing from you, Michael. He tried to offer me crazy money to come full time, but I have my businesses and I have my kids. I don't want nothing from you, but whatever you want, wherever you are, I'll be there. That's one of his songs, I'll be there. I'll be there for you. And and he took it proper, man. I mean, that guy would ring me when I was on holiday and trying to repair my first marriage. And we went to repair in Lanzarote and Michael called. I'm at New York. I'm going on the Concorde. I need you to pick me up for Heathrow, Terminal 5. I can't. I'm trying to repair my rehearsal marriage, This ain't going to help. Oh, Matt, if you really love me, you'll be there. And I've got no one else I could trust to pick me up from the airport. And I made up I couldn't find a flight because my ex was like, "You're not going back. You're married to me, not to Michael Jackson. You're not going back to London. You can sort that out. Sort that out." So I said I couldn't find any flights. Well, he's Michael Jackson. He sorted out a private plane within half an hour to take off and come and picking me up. And yeah, I was there like a mug. I don't know why I did it. And Marcy went back to Barnsley after 2 days of this so-called holiday in Lanzarote, and I picked Michael up and stayed living with him for a couple of weeks. I tried to get around it. She came and stayed with us with the kids in the hotel suite for a couple of weeks, but yeah, she wasn't too impressed. But no, it was a friendship. Then I took over his security operation for free because I had access to all these martial artists who are instructors working for me.
Why for free?
I didn't want to take any money off the guy. I was already a millionaire, and I could see everyone around him milking the guy. It was a joke, man. I saw doctors coming in, and I would go in the bathroom and I could hear whispering going on, to saying, "If you give me £10,000, I'll take you up and introduce you to Michael Jackson." This is like doctors are supposed to be caring for him, and there'll be exchanges of money going on, and then they will take the fan in to meet Michael. Say, "Oh, Michael's one of your biggest fans. They've got a disability," and "Oh, thank you so much." And he'd meet them and do a picture of them, and they would tell me they paid £10,000 for this privilege, you know, and it was going on. The trouble is, I wasn't in the position to go to Michael and say, "Michael, your doctor is ripping you off here, or this bodyguard's taking money and selling stories on you," because I was in my early 20s. I was just a karate guy, according to him. You know, I was his mate. I didn't feel like I could have that conversation with him. I did towards the end, but I didn't have the conversation with him. And yeah, it was sad to see what went on. People were just milking the guy for money constantly, and I didn't need it. And we had this relationship which is non-transactional. All my friends I have, I don't want the money for anything. I scratch their back, they scratch mine. And we talked about Alfie Best before we went on there. He came down to my event recently, and I went to his movie premiere for him. For he's #1 now in Amazon. I promoted his thing for him, his movie for him, not because he asked me to, because we have this non-transactional relationship. And that's the same with all of my friends. It's always worked out for me. So me and Michael, although he offered me crazy money, I didn't take it because I knew he couldn't afford it. I didn't need it. And I didn't always have to be there myself. I'd organize it from a distance. And I'd bring my brother-in-law to stay outside the hotel suite all night. People I could trust, and my actually one of my little brothers as well. And the people around me who I could trust, they were around him. He did it all for free. And because of that, he opened doors for me, James. He taught me how to franchise. He taught me how to think big. There's 5 locations I've got in North Devon. Stop being a format. We had a conversation not far from here, the Renaissance Hotel in Higher Holborn. I remember it very well. Billionaires don't want you, they get sick of you, especially him. People always say, "Oh, Fiddes good." He knows Fiddes good, right? He knew all that. Your moonwalk's amazing. How'd you do it? Same questions. They want to ask questions about you. So he'd quiz me about what you're up to. How's your martial arts business doing? So, "Great, I've got these 5 schools, but the next town is Tiverton. It's 40 miles away. I can't go anywhere else." So, "Of course you can. I got the biggest selling album in the world. I'm a poor boy from Gary, Indiana. My dad didn't even have shoes. We had handouts, 9 kids in a 2-bed house in Gary, Indiana, rough place. Look what's happened to me. What makes you think that?" I said, "Well, how can I get someone to drive there?" It's called franchising. It's called licensing, building a brand. I said, "But no one's ever done that before in martial arts." He goes, "Exactly, that's why you got to do it." And he pointed to me, stared me in the eyes, you know, and he wrote down on the napkin, the notepad for the Renaissance Hotel, all the things I need to do. Build a brand, learn how the mainstream media works, use mainstream media if you're invented, create a win-win, script, have manuals for everything. Focus on not the money, but an incredible service or product, and then the byproduct would be the money. He don't focus on money, Michael didn't. Incredible art, music, the byproduct was the money. And then he introduced me to his branding lawyer, attorney, they call it in America, and because he had the biggest endorsement ever. He's the first celebrity to have the biggest, I think it's about 18 million for Pepsi Cola. That's when all the celebrity endorsements came on from. So he understood the branding and how he rented out the Michael Jackson name. And he taught me to build a brand. He kept me accountable. So from that day, my conversations were very different. I used to dodge him when he called me. I say to my ex-wife, tell him I'll ring him back because he'd keep me accountable. How many schools you have done, Matt? How many students you got? "Oh, I've done 10 more. And I throw the question back to him, how you doing, Mike? And they said, "I just signed an $80 million to tour career." And I come off the phone feeling like crap. I got up my game. My mate's kicking my ass. Mm-hmm. But I was part of this unique, incredible mastermind. It wasn't just about Michael Jackson. It's Muhammad Al-Fayed and everyone we had part on the dinner table with us, our friendship circle. I didn't realize at the time, but your network is your net worth, who you become. Not just money, but how you think, your health. And they thought about changing the world, and the reward is money. They don't talk about people, gossip, or nothing like that. It was proper thinking. Muhammad Al-Fawad was extremely influential and took me under his wing. He was awesome. He used to shut Harrods for Michael, and we used to go to dinners around his house. And he used to say to me, "You're 20, Matt. You're on a Saturday night. Look who's around this table, and you're here while the others are out getting drunk. That's why you need to be observe the masses and do the opposite. So we're here creating ideas to change people, whatever, out getting drunk, and then we'll succeed by having them come buy our products or services." So he was very smart.
How was he as an individual, Michael? Did they enjoy being Michael Jackson, or because he looked obviously sad and drained, and like you say, frail sometimes? Did he enjoy being Michael Jackson?
Yeah, he loved being Michael Jackson, but he used to say to me, "I wish I had the choice." He didn't have a choice. He doesn't know not being the megastar, right? So his only memories are only being with Motown at 5, and so he used to say to me, "Wish he had the choice of being a superstar," because he doesn't know any different. But to say he didn't enjoy, I know he was sad, and many times I've had people come to me and say, "Can you go and see?" They would refer to him as Mr. Jackson. Go see Mr. Jackson because he's crying in his living room in his hotel suite, and I'll go and see him and sit down with him and say, "Mike, what's wrong?" The curtains had to be drawn, James. It's not a nice environment. I know everyone thinks it's glitz and glamour. For Michael, it wasn't. He couldn't go anywhere, do anything. We were in Munich. He had no joke. He had 1,000 fans outside chanting his name all day and night. We didn't get any sleep, and he's crying. Curtains are, it's very dark in the room, and I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I just want to be successful." I was like, "Wow, so you got the biggest Salem album of all time, Michael. You got 1,000 people out screaming your name. You got 80,000 people you're performing tonight with a concert called Michael Jackson and Friends. You're the top act. You got people flew all over the world. What do you mean?" He said, "Oh, no, I want to be successful." His problem is his competition was himself. He wanted to beat Thriller, which I couldn't tell him because he wouldn't accept it. Will never happen because we're in the digital age we're approaching, and it was downloads and stuff, and those records didn't exist where you go to those big stores. I don't think they're around anymore, are they? And he can't understand. He didn't want to embrace the latest technology, so he was trying to compete with himself. And that was the issue. Everyone else he smashed out of the park. Mm-hmm. And always dancing every day. When I say to him, "If you could change anything, what would you do?" He would just say, "I'd wish I practice more." And this guy was like dancing 3 hours a day, always singing. But the Michael Jackson thing, it was an act. Yeah, the fedora, the mask, the white glove, the sticky tape on his fingers. That was a creation that he did to manipulate and guarantee billions of pounds of publicity that money couldn't buy. And I learned that at the time. But when the fans weren't outside, the paparazzi wasn't outside, he made sure they were. He didn't like that either. So it's kind of like a love-hate relationship, a bit like Princess Diana, you know?
Because I watched the Elvis movie as well, and he was crying and depressed because he was scared that it would be forgotten, and he was the most popular man on the planet at that time. It's sad how these talents then damage themselves by feeling never good enough or feeling constantly competition with themselves.
He said to me, "The only time I'm happy, Matt, was when I'm on stage or when I'm with my kids. That's it. It's children." And the only reason he does what he does is to feel the love from the fans that he didn't get from his family or his dad as a child.
Did they ever speak about your dad?
Did Michael speak about his dad? Yeah, all the time. And we all encouraged. I met Joseph Jackson many times, and yeah, he is an intimidating figure. Even though I'm 6'4" and I was a big built, muscular guy back then. I mean, he was like, well, what was Joseph? I don't know, nearly 6 foot. Lovely guy, very, very firm, but he had that presence about him that he's terrifying. I mean, to get to Michael, people had to book an appointment for us. And Joseph, his dad, we called him Joseph because Michael used to call him Joseph. He said, "Don't call me Dad, call me Joseph." You know, so you turn up and he'd be like, "I'm here to see my son." So he'd find out where his son was staying because the media decided to look in the media, the hotel where the fans would be outside. They'd turn up. He once turned up with a sawn-off shotgun, right? And I'm with Michael, and I got told, "Joseph Jackson's here at reception. He's got a gun, and he's threatening to barge his way in, and he wants to get to Michael for good reasons, because he wanted to have an intervention to get certain doctors out of his life." And I said to Michael, "Your dad's downstairs, Mike." And he said, "Okay, he needs an appointment." I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" I just want me to go down and tell your dad to go away. And so I went downstairs, and it was a hell of a confrontation. It's like, "I'm coming through, whether you like it or not." He pushed his way through, and the other bodyguards bottled it, basically, went up to the door. I ran ahead. I told Michael, your dad's coming out. He locked himself in the bathroom, locked the other door, put the other door on, and his dad hanged around for a couple of hours. I wanted his dad to have access to Michael. I said to him, you'd let him in, but he wouldn't have it because he didn't want to hear what Joseph had to say, which is get this person out of your inner circle, get rid of this person. Joseph had his best interests at heart. That's his little boy. That's his son, you know? But trouble is, everyone around Michael was yes man. Other than me and Uri Geller. Uri Geller's the only man I know who's actually shouted at Michael and told him, stop this, stop that, stop taking this, you know, you're going to kill yourself. And because of that, Michael shut him out of his life. I kind of repaired it towards the end, but yeah, it was the people had the greatest interest at heart, like Jermaine Jackson and Tito and his dad, Joseph. He was told by publicists and people around him, don't let them near you. They only want you to be part of Jackson 5 again. They want your money, you know. And he just kind of believed them. He forgave his dad in the end. We were going to do a speech at the Oxford Union. Michael really wanted to do this. It's called Heal the Kids. He liked it because Mother Teresa spoken there, Nelson Mandela spoken there. So he got an invite to speak at and address the Oxford Union. Big deal. He broke his leg at the time and still wanted to keep up the commitment. In the car, we had quite an intense conversation where we travelled from London. We took a car to the Oxford Union. We felt it was the safest way to do it. And he was quite upset because he was going to, his speech, which we rehearsed over and over again, was about his childhood and how he felt his dad was tough on him, not having a dad, being pushed to his career, being hit with a belt and all this type of stuff. We had a rabbi with us at the time, and the rabbi said, look, it's time for you to let go of this stuff now. You know, you're 40, Michael was 42 then, I think, when he did that speech. Where's your dad? And Michael said, I don't know. I said, I found out, I called one of his brothers. I found out his dad was in Las Vegas. I got his number for Joseph. And then this rabbi, he's called Shmuley Bertek. Rabbi Shmuley said, it's time for you to, before you do this speech at the Oxford Union, now, ring your dad and forgive him. And he said, yeah, Shmuley. He said, you're right. So he called up and said, hey, Joseph, it's Michael. It was kind of strange. It's almost like they didn't know each other. It was like a distant cousin type thing. So I just want to let you know all the things I said about you on Oprah Winfrey and stuff in the media. I just want to say I forgive you. I understand what you did. We could have ended up in jail, me and my brothers, for crimes, and I've been on drugs. And if it weren't for you being tough with us, like rehearsing them like you did for Jackson 5, I wouldn't have this privilege to do a speech. That's why, you know, I'm talking about you tonight at the Oxford Union. And Joseph said, I remember he's on loudspeaker. He said, oh no, what are you going to say about me? What are you going to say? He said, don't worry. I'm going to say what you done was the right thing. I thought you were a bit harsh on me in places, but look how many people's lives have been influenced and stuff. And yeah, I remember that phone call. And Michael come off, shut the phone down, and he cried. And he felt like a big weight was off his shoulder. And he did the speech. He cried all the way through the speech of the Oxford Union. And he came away from that night. But he felt good. He felt really good. And yeah, it was a crazy time, James. When I look back at the time, I just thought it was flipping normal, but it's not, is it?
Yeah.
It's not. It's just my world. I didn't know any different.
The thing I like about you, Matt, though, you never really talk about anybody, and you've always kind of kept a lot of private stuff to yourself, which I think that's why you've got the respect from these people.
Yep.
And that's what probably why you've kept that circle so
and I will
big
defend
and powerful.
them to death, James. Any of my mates, not just because they're famous, I will defend any of my friendship circle or family to death on anything I do. And that's that. And if anyone's being wronged out there, I will put my neck out. Mm-hmm. So, you know, let's not dodge the subject. Michael was accused of child molestation multiple times. I've got one of the biggest children's organisations in the world. I stuck by his side because I know the truth. Well, what happened there? Because I was with that guy for 10 years, sleeping in a hotel room off his suite while the other security were outside. My family were outside. I knew damn well who's with him at Neverland, right? I knew the guys who accused him and sued him for hundreds of millions recently, who lost their appeals. That documentary was made. They didn't mention the fact that these two guys were suing the Michael Jackson estate for hundreds of millions of dollars. They skipped that bit. It's quite important. I think a lot of people turned the channel over if they watched that. We disproved everything within it. And yeah, Michael Jackson was told at a young age, and we had this conversation so many times, especially Uri Geller did, because he didn't understand how the world perceived it. He was told by his record label, Motown Records, who discovered him, do not ever get married, show anyone your sexuality, don't talk about race, politics, or religion, and let people think you're gay, straight, but don't ever do it. Because as soon as you say one of those things and clarify it, you're going to cut off some of your fan base. You get married, you're going to upset your female fans. That was how it was drummed into him from 5 years old. The first Jackson to get married was Tito. When Tito got married, Michael was so angry that Tito, he thought it was the end of the Jackson 5. He was furious. And when Jermaine got married as well, it was the same. So the truth of the matter is, the man who's been there and stuff, the problem he had was women. The guy couldn't, Tito would laugh. If you're interviewing Tito right now, he'll tell you, one thing you don't do is let your girlfriend go and spend a day with Michael Jackson at Neverland, because they fall in love with him and they'll be off with your girlfriend because he's a charmer. You know, he knows how to work it. His problem was women. But he wanted us as his friends and inner circle, me and Mark Lester, Yuri Geller and Mohammed Al-Fayed, to keep that a secret because he was too scared to upset the fans and upset the record labels. And it got so intense in the end. We're like, you need to, he said, well, my marriage to Debbie Rowe was out there. My marriage to Lisa Marie Presley has been out there. I said, Michael, you need to show people your girlfriends. You need to go public because it's getting out of control. The social media came around. They started to go mad. And these crazy allegations came around and yeah, I stuck by my mate through that thick and thin. And that was a big risk for me because my children's organisation, parents were thinking, are you doing the right thing? Are you sure? I know the man behind the mask, right? My mate is not a freaking kiddie fiddler. Not at all. My kids, my stepkids at the time, I had 2 sons, spent hours with him. It took him out shopping at Hamley, shut down with my rehearsal wife, right? If anyone was going to speak bad about Michael, it'd be her, wouldn't it? He didn't, not him at all. That was the narrative which we understand now by other people along the way. Russell Brand recently, Andrew Tate and all the rest of it. Mainstream media will go after you. Nothing much you can do about it, even there's no evidence. And go back to the 93 allegations. I was at school then, but I knew the truth about that. Michael Jackson never wanted to settle that case for whatever was reported to be 20 million. He had no choice in the matter. His insurance company paid out. It wasn't Michael's money. His insurance company said, he was in the middle of a tour called Dangerous. And they said, listen, you got this multi-billion tour, got airplanes flying, you got 2 big jets flying the stuff around the world. So many careers on the line. Fans booked out 8 nights on the road, just in London alone, 80,000 people a night at a time. And you got this little problem here, which you're insured against. Now, bear in mind, they filed a civil suit. You got children, James.
Yeah.
If your kids come home and said, someone's molested me, you want them in jail or hung or murdered or gas chamber, wouldn't you? You wouldn't file a lawsuit, would you? They didn't go to the police. They went straight for the money. So they just paid it off. And Michael said, I want to fight that. I want to go to trial. They wouldn't have it. They did that. So his insurance company paid out for him. And the worst thing he ever did, he became a magnet there. And then when the next one came round in 2005, we saw that one coming. We warned him. And his accountant said, you've got to stop buying them out. It's a cancer sufferer, basically. Make-A-Wish Foundation. And yeah, we could predict it was going to happen. And we cut off. Michael probably cut him off too fast. Michael changed his number every 2 weeks because people would get hold of it and harass him. And this boy didn't react well to that. And, you know, when they talk about young boys around him, that's their narrative. We are young boys. I've got 100 hours of footage, of private footage of me and Michael, because he made us film everything because people would jump on the cars and sue him, jump underneath the cars and say they'd been crushed by him. They'll get hurt in a scrum. And because he had a good heart, he would go and visit them in hospitals. The fans would try and get hurt and hoping at Michael. So everything would visit them. So we'd film everything on the camcorder days, right? And he kept that footage with me. He said, if ever I get sued, Matt, when I'm with your presence, can you store that safely? And if I need to rely on evidence, can you supply it? We've not just got that. We've got like birthdays, me spending Christmas was with him and stuff like that. So when I look back on that footage now, I've got little girls at Neverland and boys, kids gravitated to him. He was a megastar. I mean, he won the Guinness Book of Records. The last public appearance we did, other than the announcement of concerts, 2006 at Earl's Court, we received from Guinness Book of Records the world's most famous man. And I believe he will. I don't think there'll ever be anyone as famous as that again.
Yeah, because it's obviously the allegations of the kids, young boys sleeping in his bed and having Neverland to then groom them and have them in. Obviously, when you hear Macaulay Culkin talking, and he says he never abused them. The 2 young kids who done, was it Finding Neverland? What was that documentary?
Leaving Neverland.
But Leaving Neverland, they'd done, I think they gave statements before to say
the first
that he was a good guy and he was never abused, then he died, and then he gave statements. And I know people can say there's no smoke without fire. I was never there, but obviously when you're sleeping with kids and people say, oh, he was still a kid himself, he never really grew up. There was a lot of accusations and rumours. Oprah Winfrey interview never really done him any harm. And then obviously paying off the court case, people think, well, he was get something to hide.
Well, now you know the truth about that one. Let's go for the gun then, right? let's talk about Wade. So Wade's the same age as me. So Wade was the star witness in the 2005 trial, the first person to come on, and he was grilled. You imagine the American courts, they wanted to get Michael Jackson in jail. 14 counts of child molestation. Some of the other counts like intoxicating a child and all this types of alcohol, which is so not MJ. It's not Mike at all. And then the same district attorney back in 1993 who wanted to make a name for himself, Tom Seddon, was trying his best to try and get this family file a criminal suit. And they wouldn't do it. Jordan Chandler's family. They would not do it. They just wanted the money. They were happy to go. He failed. That would have made him. So the same district attorney, Tom Seddon, was back again in 2005, the same legal team as Jordan Chandler, to represent the Avizo family to come after Michael. He had the same team. And this district attorney wanted to get Michael. In fact, the press conference, Michael was in Miami at the time when he heard about it. He was filming, what the hell were we filming? One More Chance, ironically, was the song, unbelievably. And the phone call came in that Neverland had just been raided. And he fell to the floor crying. And then we heard Tom Seddon was behind it again, the same district attorney from 1993. And then Tom Seddon did a press conference, and he was all like joyous. And all the media there, I've got an arrest warrant for Michael Jackson. We finally got him, he says. And I was thinking, wow, this is not normal. This don't happen. If it wasn't Michael Jackson, this wouldn't be happening. So we're all watching this thinking, geez, this guy's really is not going to... Michael didn't help matters because he released a song on an album. I can't remember which one it was now. Blood on the Dance Floor. That's what it's called. And he did a song called... it was a basic hit song, a guy called Tom Seddon, but it was... basically, it sounded like this district attorney's name, and it wound him up. So Michael was like, a bad man, and this guy who mistreats people and so forth. And so Michael continuously wound him up. I don't think it helped the matter. Released a song about him. Sounded just like his name. It wasn't his name. So not much that the district attorney could do about it. So this guy was gunning for Michael. Got an arrest warrant. Mr. Jackson, wherever you are in the world, come and hand yourself in now. And a deal was done. Once we got Michael sane enough to get on a plane, deal was done to fly him in. And even then, some nasty people, I don't swear on this podcast. You swear a lot on this podcast. It's all right, is it? You know what I mean? I don't normally swear because I'm the martial arts guy, so I don't want to upset people. Yeah. You know what I mean? These people, even on that airplane, they recorded the people we hired the airplane from to get Michael from Miami to back home to Los Angeles to give himself up, basically. They recorded the chit-chat between him and his lawyer the whole way. That's how bad things were. And they sold that to the media. Michael sued them in the end. And when he landed, the deal was done. What we didn't want is the picture of Michael in handcuffs. We knew this is all nonsense. We would go away. He'll be found not guilty. So he was driven into a bunker. The plane went into a bunker. Then he was come off. Then he was arrested and put into handcuffs. And the media didn't see that part. I think some footage did leak from the media in the end. Someone stitched this up. And then he handed himself in. And they manipulated the mugshot to make him look like an idiot. And then it was just trying to keep that guy positive was a battle. They took his passport off him. For Michael, that was tough. He's used to his freedom, flying all over the world. We get to one hotel, 2 days later, he's bored. We're off to another country, next place. He'd always have his suitcase packed. Yeah, it's complete nonsense. And obviously came to nothing. When he died, it turned out he was investigated by the FBI for 10 years, like, intensely following us. And people tended to be, you got to remember, the harshest courts in America, in Los Angeles. This district attorney wanted to get him. And it was just all nonsense. It turned out the family were done for fraud in the past. And the other thing that's not publicized, the original accuser, Jordan Chandler, he's now grown up. He's actually come out and said, my family told me to say it, but the media don't want to print that. And when all these allegations were coming out after that program, they say, Matt, I won't say the publication, so I'm on good terms with them within reason, biggest publication in the world, called me up from New York and said, Matt, I want to interview you about Leaving Neverland, this documentary, these two accusers, Wade and James, about what do you think? I said, why don't you interview his girlfriend? Why don't you interview his wife, his ex-wife? Why don't you interview who dated him? One of them has actually done a book, My Life with Michael, about her relationship with Michael, romantic, with all pictures. Yeah, we know about the girlfriends, Matt, and the wife, but it goes against the narrative, mate. Can you give us something that goes with the narrative? I'm like, so I just put the phone down on them, And that's what we're dealing with. Now you get it now more, James, because he was the first, I would describe him as the first Me Too victim, where cancel culture, where media allegations without any substance to back it up will finish your career. Michael Jackson was the first one. You've seen one by one, boom, 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 ever since. And all they've got is statements from 30, 40 years ago. And most of these people can't even remember meeting these people, let alone, doing anything wrong. So after him, it went wild, didn't it? The Me Too cancel culture. So he was the first one. But no, he's not a child molester by any means. I would not be associated myself by that. He's a loving man, but naive. Let's talk about the bedroom. That's a good point, valid point. So let me give you some context behind it. A normal bedroom would be, I don't know, 2 meters by 3 meters or something. The size of his bedroom was on 2 floors, 3 bathrooms, arcade games, 2 huge king-size double bed, fireplace. Unbelievable. Like, it's basically the size of a mansion, his bedroom. He wanted his privacy because around Neverland you can't walk around because people used to parachute in. Oh, sorry, forgot. Just didn't realize the mistake to try and meet Michael. That's how fanatic things were. So whenever he walked around the ranch, he still had security guards walking. His only privacy he had was he'd have to bolt the locks on his bedroom so much. And if people would get in, the panic alarm would be hit by Neverland security office. He had to run to his panic room, which is off his bedroom. They call it the secret abuse room. It's not. He didn't build that. When he bought Neverland, it was called Sycamore Valley. And that panic room was there. Most billionaires, multi-billionaires do have panic rooms, and it's equipped with stuff that would keep him sane. We'd have Michael in there for a day and a half sometimes, so we know the property's been checked. You talk as like thousands of acres that have to be checked before we let Michael out of that room. So all this secret abuse room and all that. Yeah, his bedroom is like a house. So it's just like having a friend staying around the house. You're watching a movie, you fall asleep. I'm freaking sleeping next to him, cuddling in the bed. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's on 2 floors. I mean, it's just mad.
But why kids though? Obviously, people would question that. He's still having kids to sleep over.
I'm not by any means. And we told him the public will not understand this. We told him that, but he would not listen, especially after what happened in 1993. Uri Geller told him it's not good. The rabbi I told you about told him. I told him. So I used to say to him, outside, Michael, I know you're loving. And so how he grew up, they were all squashed together. You had 9 Jacksons. Basically, the girls would sleep in the living room at night, and then the boys would in like multiple bunk beds. He was used to them all clumping in together. That was his world, right? That was his thing. So he didn't know anything different. So for him, having white kids, because he felt he could trust them, just like he had a zoo, he could trust the animals because they didn't screw him up, they didn't sell stories, they didn't talk bad about him. But it wasn't boys, it was girls. Macaulay Culkin's family, sisters as well. There was multiple. I don't know why they keep going out with boys all the time. Look back at my footage, it's all girls mainly sat on his lap, but they don't want that footage, don't go with the narrative. But no, he trusted them. He can't trust adults because they all want something of him. Well, they keep talking about his damn career all the time. And he's sick of being asked about how do you do the moonwalk? How do you do the lean? Smooth Criminal's good, isn't it? Billie Jean's good. He's tired of all that. Kids don't ask him that. They just want to arcade games, watch movies, chill out, put the fireplace on, relax. Is it wrong? Yes, it was wrong. Could perceive was wrong, but not in Michael's head, it wasn't wrong. If someone moved next door to me, who was a multi-billionaire, and had kids sleeping around his house, boys and girls, be the first person to ring the police. Of course I would, duty of care. But Michael didn't have a reality like that. It didn't even cross his mind. He didn't get it. How can he get it? His life was underground car park, lift through a kitchen, secret way, into a hotel suite. We went everywhere but didn't see anything. Just trapped in a room. Couldn't go anywhere. He didn't have any sense of reality in his life.
How did he deal with the hate that came with it, all that stuff as well?
The truth behind the tabloid stuff, I'll tell you a story which will summarize it, right? He was a genius. So the first thing we'd do whenever we get to any town, city, is we'd have a sit down with him at his table in this hotel suite, and he would say, okay, he put the glasses on, and how can I make the front pages in the next few days? How can I manipulate the media? And he'd come up with some ideas. Some of them are a bit outrageous, some of them are very smart. And every morning, wherever we were in the world, any 5-star hotel, they maybe not now they don't, but back then, you'd get delivered every edition of the national papers would get pushed under your door. So the hotel staff would push the national newspapers underneath Michael Jackson's and they go into his living room. I get a phone call from America, from his PA, saying, can you go and get the Daily Mirror, can you get the Sun and take out pages 9 to 11 because of a nasty story about Mr. Jackson. So Michael used to get up late. He used to get up like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He'd be up all night writing music, singing and dancing, driving me. I couldn't get any sleep. So I'd go and take the newspapers. I'll find the articles. They're all negative about him, about his nose falling off, all this type of stuff. Take it, crush it up, put the papers back so he wouldn't notice. That was that. I've done that for several weeks. Then one day we went to Muhammad Al-Fayed's house in Oxted. And I'm sitting at the fire around Muhammad Al-Fayed's house. Michael sat next to me, like sitting next to the fire. And he whispered in my ear, he said, Matt, he said, yeah, listen. He said, I've been in this industry all my life. My career is about commercializing media. Media is my game. Without the media, I'm nothing. I got to sell records. I need to fill stadiums. Please let me see my own work. And I said, I don't know what you mean. Don't think you think I'm stupid when the newspaper goes from page 9 to 15. My story is missing. So, oh, geez, I thought it upset you. I said, I created that story. It was my idea. I put allergy tape on my nose to make it my nose would fall off. So I want my good life to be the greatest mystery on earth. Got to keep people guessing. You got to stay relevant. So one thing that stuck in my mind is you got to be interesting for people to be interested in you. You got to stay. Madonna and people like that have been very good at doing that. So behind the scenes, Michael throw on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and there'd be no makeup or none of that nonsense. To get ready was a mission for him. You know, sometimes it make himself look outrageous because it created publicity. Yeah, and so he was behind. So I've been taking like an idiot. I've been taking these news articles away, and he's a man planting the stories.
What about the baby over the veranda?
Yeah, I was in the room that day. Yeah. Okay. Right. What happened there? Right. So I'll tell you as it is, James, because it's like that's the theme of your podcast, right? So that was a major misjudgment, but he was not in a place at the time to make a right judgment. So we were in Berlin. We were in a hotel suite. And by the way, this baby just appeared. If I'm completely honest with you, I was in London with him. We were shopping. I don't know where we were. We were in Hamleys. That's where we were. And he said to me, "Can you get that and that for the baby?" I don't really think. I thought he meant Paris, his youngest daughter. I get back to the hotel room. He's got a baby in his arms. I said, "Where'd that baby come from, mate?" It's my baby. Okay. I mean, I got in my early 20s. I didn't ask too many questions because you're gone. I mean, that's it. It gets paranoid, you know. And I know he needed me. He needed someone he could trust in his life. And I saw what happened with Yuri when Yuri was tough on him. He just shut him out. And he would return his calls and then get the friendship get back in order again. So around Hamley, and I thought it's a bit strange, he's mentioned his baby. And I said to my rehearsal wife, you know, he's got about his baby all the time, you know, and this baby's come out of nowhere. And then the next public appearance was him to receive a Bambi Award in Berlin. And we're in the living room, and he's got a doctor there who was a problem. A doctor was a serious issue. And whatever the hell he gave Mike was hyper. Some kind of amphetamine, I don't know. He was hyper. You'll see a scene in the Martin Bashir documentary where Michael's legs shaking and he's like, completely crazy. And he was hyper because the doctor made him like that on purpose because it gave him a happy feeling or something. Erratic is probably the word. And he took Prince, the oldest his son, to the balcony. We had massive fans there. It was unbelievable. And they go mad for Prince. Then he showed Paris and they were chanting, "We want to see the baby, baby, baby." And he didn't think anything of it. He just grabbed the baby and he put the baby up to the balcony, came back in, and we didn't really say that. But let me tell you the truth about the shot. That's famous, right? If you go to that hotel, you'll see you've got the balcony, then you have a ledge. This is a proper like 5-6 star hotel in Berlin, a ledge. He couldn't drop that baby. If he dropped that baby, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. There's a ledge. I'm not justifying it by any means, but that baby wouldn't have fell to its death or anything like that. There was like a ledge underneath if you go and visit that hotel. He came in. He was under the influence of something, James. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. He come in. My main concern really was with Mike Lester, my mate. Can we get him away from this doctor because he's got an awards show to go to? And look at him, you know, he's shaking, erratic. So Mark took him away. We got the doctor out of the way. And then media started arriving outside the hotel. Thinking, wow. And then Michael's like, wow, this is great. It was so popular. And it's because of the Bambi Award I'm going to get tonight. Oh, it's great. And it grew. All these satellite dishes, all these big vans, Sky News, Fox News. And then the presence of people, it was like thousands of people outside. Then I get a phone call from America. So we had German TV on, and German TV was playing, Michael Jackson shows his children off to the world. And that's it. That's all the narrative was. There was no controversy. So America calls, says, "Where's Mr. Jackson?" I said, "Oh, he's just with Mark Lester, his best mate, watching a movie." He said, "Tell Mr. Jackson not to watch TV. He might not be able to go to the Bambi Awards tonight. He's everywhere all over. And I said, well, what's going on? And it's his assistant. He said, they're saying that he's put his child at danger. He dangled him over the balcony. I was like, oh, he's there? No, the doctor's here, and he's basically not right. You know, what's been given to him, in my opinion, and that's not his attention at all. And that balcony, and I saw the picture. I said, no, they've manipulated that angle. They're only showing one side of it. And anyway, yeah, we no one wanted to tell Michael, so me and Mark sat him down and said, listen, the world's took it. Germany are saying you're showing you the kids, but the world's take it as that you you're neglecting your child. They forgot, they didn't show the image of Prince and Paris being shown. They just went for the baby. Their own narrative. And they said, baby, you know, Michael dangled a baby. Anyway, we had German authorities turn up, welfare officers turn up at the hotel, and he just locked himself in a bedroom and just cried. He just couldn't believe it, you know. But it was the doctor's fault. That was the truth. Michael was not thinking. Do you know, when we got back to London, so we went from there and we had to get a connecting flight from London. We were driving in the back of the car and he was thinking about the Berlin incident, and the blacked out car, so no one could see him, but he could see everyone else. And you could see dads at parks chucking their kids up in the air, catching them. He says, you know what, Matt, if I did that, because I'm Michael Jackson, I would be killed, crucified by the world's media. But everyone else can get away with it.
Why did he do that, Martin Bashir?
All right, so I'm glad you brought that subject up. Yuri Geller
destroyed him a bit.
Yeah, Yuri Geller gets the blame for that. Everyone said, oh, Yuri Geller introduced to Maya Bashir. So Michael understood the world had this big misunderstanding about who he is, and this kiddie fiddler nonsense, and this wacko jacko. Now that, by the way, I'm friends with the editors who wrote those stories, and they said the only reason they did that because it fit nicely on the front page. Headlines, everything. You know how it works, James. Yeah. Wacko, and Michael hated that. He didn't want to be called wacko. So that just fit lovely on the front page, and then they had the story underneath, and then you get the real story when you open it up. And yeah, so what's the question again?
Martin Bashir, why did he do it?
Right. He wanted to do a TV show to show the real truth. He didn't want to do, he did Oprah, but it didn't have much of an effect. He talked about his skin condition, vitiligo, no one really believed it. So he wanted a TV show, but this time about Michael Jackson, his music, the career, the man behind the myth, to follow him. And we had, being his friend, we're always bombarded with offers. We had 3 people who really wanted to make it. One of them had met Michael a couple of times at Yuri Geller's wedding when Michael was best man. Sir David Frost, very credible person. If you remember Sir David Frost, made great documentaries, very well known, credible. Then we had Louis Theroux, who's on our case all the time, bless it, you know, Louis. And then we had this guy called Martin Bashir, who was famous for the Princess Diana thing. So we had these 3 options. So they contact Yuri because he's more famous than I am. I was a name back then. I was just my own martial arts, but I was his friend and bodyguard. They contact Yuri Geller first. So Yuri had these best top 3 options. So he said to Michael, he said, look, there's 3 people. You've got Louis Theroux from I think it's BBC at the time. You've got Sir David Frost, which is any channel he wanted. I think it was going to be ITV. And you got Martin Bashir. He said, I recommend you go with Sir David Frost because he knew him very personally and it'd be credible and good. But Michael was friends with Princess Diana. He was blinkered. He said, I just want Martin Bashir. No, Yuri, I just want Martin Bashir. So all Yuri did, it was on a Wednesday afternoon, he walked in and he introduced Martin Bashir to Michael Jackson in the hotel suite. Michael wanted me to sit in on the meeting and talk about some ideas of filming and stuff if he did want to go ahead. Martin sat down, and no one believed me about this story for years until the last couple of years after the Diana expose. And Yuri was there, and there was another one person there with us, another security person. And Bashir basically pitched Michael. He said, I want to film you, and I'm going to tell you the truth about you, focus on your music, your dance, your success, film you making music videos. He said all the right things. Michael was a bit suspicious still. I could see he was not quite sure. Then what happened, out of his pocket, which is well reported now, backed up by evidence, no one believed me before, he got out this crumpled note from Princess Diana, handwritten, saying, Martin Bashir, thank you so much. You changed my image. Now it's called personal brand. Now it's image. Turned my reputation. You changed my life. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Bear in mind, Michael was friends with Diana. He read that. Bashir handed it to him. Michael read that, thought, wow. And that was it. That was the end of it. And we left the room, and we all assumed, being Michael Jackson, he would tie Martin Bashir up with legal contracts, edit control, everything by his lawyers. But that was lacking. that department of the Michael Jackson organization. So we left the room and thought this would be the biggest thing ever. And he played Mike really well because we'd see him everywhere popping up. And then on the last day of filming, Mike was in Miami and he called us. He said, mine was acting strange. I said, what do you mean? He's asking me really strange questions, Matt. Like, why did I have these operations on my face and why am I white? He's never been like that. He's my friend. Can you try and get him to calm down? We couldn't get hold of him. He wouldn't answer the phone to me, you, get anyone anymore. But we had like a bit of confidence in the fact that Michael had verbally agreed with Martin Bashir that he would come out from England and deliver him a VHS tape, because that's what it was back then, to watch it and edit out any bits he didn't want to have in the documentary. And the date was set in the diary for when Martin Bashir was going to fly out and do that. He didn't turn up. Martin Bashir didn't turn up. And Michael started to panic then. And he rang me and said, I need you to go to Martin Bashir. I can't go to Martin anymore. He's not answering his phone. Yuri tried, I tried, Michael Jackson's staff tried. Then we got the lawyers involved. His London lawyers got involved as well. Couldn't get hold of Bashir. Then we started to realise that he isn't going to turn up in Miami. He saw it, no intention of turning up. That something was wrong. And then the TV stations get sent a copy to review before it. The news articles started to appear. And then one of our friends leaked us a copy of it. We watched it. We're like, whoa, this is only like samples of it too. I went to Yuri's house to watch it because we were very suspicious, but we thought Martin would do this to him. Surely not. He's literally lived with Michael for 8 months, got some amazing footage. But Michael was very concerned about that last day of questioning. That was all. Everything else was wonderful, but the last day he was full on interrogating him. And at one stage he said to him, this is not you, Martin. You're not a journalist like this. You're a credible journalist. What are you asking me these crazy questions for? Anyway, me and Yuri Geller watched it for the first 45 minutes. Well, this is good. This is fantastic. Shows Mike for what he is. Then it took a turn and it went down this mad, crazy world and didn't explain everything properly or nothing. He encouraged Michael to hold, I had friends who were there with Michael at the time, to hold Gavin's hand. So why don't you hold his hand on camera? Lean next to him, Michael. It's all encouraged and so on. And also apparently what happened to him, Michael's used to signing his autograph. So he was given a document and from what we understand, he signed a waiver to all rights to all the footage. So when we finally watched the end of it, I don't know, we were devastated. I was at Yuri Geller's house in Sunderland-on-Thames. I called Michael, he was in Miami. By then he'd already had the paparazzi were trying to find him, media were trying to find him. He got wind that it wasn't good. And I said, he said to me, how bad is it? I said, it's bad, Mike. It's not good. He stitched you up. And he's crying down the phone. And he said, can you give a witness statement about that first meeting you did at the Renaissance Hotel with you and Yuri Geller? I said, yeah. I said, Yuri, will you do it? I said, yeah, we were on it. Next day, we did a witness statement to try and get an injunction to stop this damn program being released in America. It was due to be played there a week later. So went out in England. We want an injunction to stop it being played ever again and to stop being played in America, which would be devastating all around the world too. It's called Living with Michael Jackson. We did that. They went for the injunction. It turned out Michael signed this thing and we didn't have a case. He trusted Martin. He trusted him. Now it's come out that the whole Diana thing was a nut job, doesn't it? He did the same to Michael. But
it's just because the kid in that video as well, when grabbing him close and talking about sleeping in bed, it does look creepy. Do you know what I mean? It does look fucked up.
What do you think? When I was watching it, like, well, my family getting into this, it's like, what are you doing?
How close was he with Oprah?
Michael wasn't close with anyone.
Was he not?
No.
But she made out as if they were best friends because on the first documentary, because they talk about the Elephant Man's bones and all that creepy shit, when people go, that's weird. People do change the narrative, and that's where interviewers become, nobody trusts them.
But Michael's behind all this stuff. Like, do you remember the hyperbaric chamber, oxygen chamber?
Yeah.
So he one of his best friends, Elizabeth Taylor, actually he trusted her massively. And she was always on the front of a magazine called The National Enquirer. It was a big thing back then. It's probably seen a bit more trashy now. And he was jealous of her. And he wanted to be on the front page of National Enquirer. He's coming up with all these ideas. He got burnt badly in a commercial he did with his brothers for Pepsi Cola. He basically redone Billie Jean for Pepsi Cola. And his scalp was burnt, I think it's like 3rd, 4th degree burns. That's where he first started taking the pain medication, got addicted to it. And he didn't sue Pepsi Cola. The pyrotechnic went off and burnt his hair caught fire. What he did instead is he got compensation, but he used it to fund something called the Michael Jackson Burn Center. And he went to visit it, and there's this oxygen chamber, which basically helps kids or anyone, adults, they go in it and it helps you recover from burns. It increases the oxygen level in it. He said to his publicist at the time, I'm going to lay in that thing, take a picture. And so he went and laid in it, went like that, took a picture. He said he hated it. It was like the thought of the whole thing, when he trapped into like a coffee, didn't like the feeling of it, came out. And he said to his publicist, Frank DeLeo, he said, Frank, I want you to release that to National Enquirer. And said, I sleep in it every night to stay young. And boom, it's on the front page of National Enquirer. It made the press. And he used to always laugh and joke about that story. That, the Elephant Man Bones, and all the other stories, he's behind pretty much all of it.
What about the skin change when they went white?
True.
What happened with that? Because people say he was injected because they didn't want a black man up
No,
some mad conspiracy theories. But what is the truth behind that?
So back in this generation's family, black people suffer from, do you know, there's a famous model now, it's got vitiligo, it's making a fortune from it. It's a skin condition. You lose the pigmentation of your skin. He loved water parks and stuff like that. I was a great love of him. He couldn't do any of that. He couldn't go out in the sun. That's why you see me holding umbrellas over his head the whole time. People say I'm the umbrella man. Honestly, they always use that picture of me holding a flipping umbrella over his head.
The umbrella man. He might have had your bones if it was.
Ah, dear me. But that's stopping getting skin cancer. He had no pigment in his skin. So
no pigmentation?
No. So it goes. And it started to break out on his face and up his neck. So in the early days when you see Thriller, you can see like the white patches. So what they did, his makeup artist would cover it up with dark makeup. And that's quite hard to do. Then it used to spread down his neck, and it got ridiculous. And he had a patch on his cheek and his arms. If you could look at pictures, I could show you pictures of the media don't want to show you, but you can see all the patching. So in the end, he got his team of his makeup artist. There's nothing else we can do. So he had to make a decision. You know, what can he do? And the truth of the matter is, he used a cream, which anyway, at no point clearly, it's out there. The autopsy was done on his death. He did have vitiligo, was confirmed by the coroner, and they found the tubes of a cream called which bleached his skin, and he just did that. But his whole body wasn't like that. He used to joke with me. He said, I see him walk around in boxer shorts and that, so, or pair of shorts, and it said, I'm the spotted cow, Matt. Look at my legs. He'd have patches all over his legs, bless him. You know, nothing you could do about it. But no one believed him. No one believed him. But when he died, it was proven true by the autopsy. It had made this much media that he was telling the truth all along. He wasn't flipping bleaching himself to get rid of his black heritage. He's very proud of that. Now it's normal. Now you've got a model out there who makes millions of the fact that she's got vitiligo and shows all her patching. She doesn't try and cover it. But he was zoomed in by paparazzi. He had to have that. You can't be seen with patches. Back then, image was everything. You couldn't admit. You had Botox back then. Plastic surgery was a thing. If you took everyone out of Hollywood now, hadn't had plastic surgery or Botox, there'd be no one left, would there?
No.
And he could understand it, James. You can say to me, Matt, why do you keep going about my skin all the time? What's the problem? I've got a skin disease. Why won't they believe me? I said, why does it matter anyway? Because the suntan lotion is a multi-billion-dollar business. You white guys, you go and sit out in the sun for hours on end to try and get dark, like us black people. You don't get criticised. Why do you hate on me for the fact that I've got lighter skin than what I was born with? And I thought, yeah, valid point. But
why so many operations on the face though, the nose and everything?
I don't, in my era, James, I knew where he was, what he was doing at any given time from 1998 through to his death. I would know where he was for our friend network, our friend circle. Even when I wasn't with him, there was no operation that took place in my era. And a lot of the stuff you see was where he's put makeup on to make himself look a bit stupid and stuff and so on. Mm-hmm. Towards the end of his, he did take things too far. That's something he would admit to as well. But towards the end, he was working with for his This Is It tour, which unfortunately was part of the issue. He would visit a doctor called Dr. Arnie Klein, who treated Elizabeth Taylor, some big names, and they had new science available. So they were taking tissue from his back, I believe, and injecting it, and they made it all back normal. He had nothing left to work with, but they made him look great. So had you seen him on stage in No2 in London, that little curve thing he had and so on had gone. They'd rebuilt that. But that required him being on a Demerol, which is in England it's called pethidine, which they give to pregnant women when they're in pain. Very addictive substance, which they put on a drip. The doctor should never have been given that in the first place, and he became addicted to that. So he'd go there, they'd work on him to get ready for the tour. But no, it's so many operations. Yeah, he's clearly had lots done here and there, but in my era, he never had a thing. He stopped all that long before.
Did they have the Beatles catalogue?
Yeah, Paul
Did he buy
McCartney
them?
recommended him to invest in music, and he said, "I'm going to buy your songs," and he went and bought them all. And he didn't have a fallout with Eminem. I was with Mike in a It's a song called "Just Lose It," and the music video come out, and it makes a reference like it's got a Michael Jackson lookalike in it who throws his nose across the room.
His hair goes on fire.
Yeah, hair goes on fire, and there's a line that says, "I don't want to be like Michael, little boys like Michael," something like that. Michael he didn't react. I said, "You're not upset? You're not going to sue him?" No. So I really respect that guy as an artist, man. I'm devastated. I didn't think he'd do that to me, but he said the bigger the star, the bigger the target. That's what he used to say. And then I thought, wow, I thought Michael would sue this guy, sue Eminem. I thought Eminem would be finished. Anyway, a month later, I get a phone call from one of Michael's brothers, and he said, my little brother's just screwed Eminem over. What do you mean? He said, he's bought all of his music so that whenever Eminem wants to play, he has to ask Michael for permission. And Michael gets paid, and Michael can say, no, you can't do it. So he basically bought all of Eminem's music catalogue in revenge to get him back. So next time I was with Michael, I said, Mike, is it true? You bought Eminem's music? Yeah. Now, when that MF has got to play music, I get paid. And I can say no if I want to, just like the Beatles catalogue. Got him back. Clever guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's out there in the media, but no one wants to report on it.
How did his relationship with Princess Diana start?
That was before my era. He used to talk about Diana a lot and said that was his ideal wife, and he spent hours on the phone. He used to talk to the staff that were around him at the time. She used to ring all the time, and he used to ring all the time. Prince Charles used to put an end to, well, King Charles now, he's put an end to it a lot. In fact, the princes wanted to meet him on a trip to London in 2002. Prince Harry and Prince William wanted to meet Michael. Obviously, they knew their mum was friends with Michael Jackson. She used to go to the Wembley concerts and watch the Bad Era and so on. And we set it up for Michael to meet Michael. And I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but it doesn't really matter. I'm too late now. I'm too far talking. King Charles, or Prince Charles back then, we were told, put a stop to it. So we went to the House of Lords, and we were going to meet the princes afterwards. And a lord organised it for us, his friends of Prince Charles. And we just got told by the Lord, I won't mention his name, but one of the senior Lord MPs there that Prince Charles, King Charles now, put a stop to his son's meeting Michael Jackson due to the controversy surrounding he didn't want his kids associated to them, which is sad because like Prince Harry, I met him at Cheltenham Racecourse. He's like, oh, you're Michael Jackson guy. And he was there drunk doing the moonwalk in the tent, the VIP tent. And like, you're going to introduce me to Michael. I want to find out a bit more about my mum, and stuff. And yeah.
Thought he's got a cheek to stop Michael Jackson and his brother's Prince Andrew.
Yeah, we had this very official letter come through saying that Prince William, Prince Harry will not be meeting Michael Jackson. And that was hard because we had to deliver the news to him, and that's kind of why he came to London. He wanted to be Sir Michael Jackson, and he'd been made promises by certain people in the government and near the royal family, because Steven Spielberg got an honorary Sir Steven Spielberg. So you have to be born in England to become a Sir, but you can be honorary. He felt he deserved that recognition because he's greatest, biggest sound artist of all time, and what he's done, he's achieved. He's the Guinness Book of Records. He's the biggest. What's the word? Giving money to, he's given away the most to charities than any other entertainer in the world. I think it's 750 million he's given away. No one wants to report on that either. So he was kind of coaxed in to come in to London to meet the royal family, Prince William, Harry, and become Sir Michael Jackson. And it didn't happen due to, well, I don't know, whatever. We just got told it wouldn't happen, and then he wasn't meeting the princes. That was that.
What was his favourite song?
So I've asked him this many times. It's funny because he did listen to his own music, James, which was I found quite ironic. But why wouldn't he? And his favourite song was Earth Song and Heal the World, because it had a meaning that was close to his heart to change the world. And all this stuff that's happening now, he kind of predicted. He was very much a visionary. He predicted what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. So Heal the World, Earth Song, that was his favourite stuff. Not Billie Jean. He used to say to me, the Billie Jean, the fans expect me to do it how they want it. The moonwalk in exactly the right place, the hat on in the spotlight. I don't know if you've seen the Billie Jean thing he does. Yeah. It's like the iconic performance. He said, when he does that on his own, when I've seen him rehearse, he would play around with it and do the moonwalk at different stages. It would be pretty cool. But the record companies and the show promoters would demand that he does the moonwalk in the exact same place and the finger point in the same place. He would like to be creative with it. But no, he liked Heal the World and Earth Song. I thought he would say Smooth Criminal or something like that.
Yeah, the biggest entertainer. I grew up in it. I fucking loved him. My daughter still watches him. Like, it's unbelievable that you've spent in the presence of it. And listen, you've got his back 1,000,000% as well. So it can put people's everything I see of him, if I'm honest, is negative. He's a nonce, he's a weirdo, he's this and that. So it's good that actually somebody's sitting here and singing his praises, because nobody has all the answers to what he does. Yes, sitting with kids, it's fucking creepy. You've got to be honest. We're not here to sugarcoat anything.
If you watch the narrative.
Yeah, it's weird. But again, I don't know how the media work.
Yeah.
I don't know how they can operate, and I don't know how they can cancel. But he was just too big to be cancelled.
There's no social media. He couldn't have a word himself. And most of this stuff's come out after he's dead, and he can't speak out. So Wade and James, who made that documentary, so I can understand it, because I said to Michael's lawyers, why can't you sue Wade and James? Because they've gone on the stand, well, Wade has, and said, he's the star witness in 2005. Why can't you go? He's committed perjury. Now he's saying he's been abused. What happened? So the other part of the story, make people think, when Michael died, a week later, he was supposed to be collecting an award for a big show. In the end, they made it a Michael Jackson tribute night when Janet came out and did a surprise performance. Wade begged to be one of Janet's dancers for this tribute a week after he died. Wade also wanted to marry his fiancée, his wife, and asked countless times, this is on record by the way, on court file, to be married at Neverland. Why would you want to be married at a place that you say got abused from? The other thing too, one of them was James, accused of being abused in the train station at Neverland. Well, that was quite simple. One of Mike Smallcombe, he got the original planning records of when the train station was built. Elizabeth Taylor got married at Neverland too, so we got aerial pictures of helicopters going off. The train station wasn't even built until he was in his late 20s. How can he be molested when he was a kid? The pictures prove it. The planning permission wasn't even granted until he was an adult in his 20s. It's just all nonsense.
What about the rumours of showing kids porn and giving them alcohol?
Well, Michael would drink. Well, the thing about Michael with me is like, Matt, you're not going to drink alcohol. Because when he grew up, he didn't just go into these big stadiums. He was working the clubs with Jackson 5, and he would see what goes on behind the scenes and drugs and alcohol. He was so anti. Like, if you take drugs, alcohol, you're out of my life. I didn't have my first alcoholic drink, James, until I was 27 because of Michael. He didn't see prescription drugs as drugs. He saw that as the doctor gave it to him. It's okay. Medication. And that was complete nonsense. Now, in Neverland, there is a wine cellar, and when people would come and stay, then they'll be treated, they'll be looked after. But Michael giving kids alcohol, complete and utter nonsense. That was proven all false, for the whole lot. There was no case or answer.
What about the fallout with Sony?
Yeah, that's true.
Was it £1 billion or something?
Yeah, well, he that was wrong for him to, well, I don't know. He got up one day and he wanted to, we're in London here, and Sony Music Office, he wanted to get all the fans to go there and protest, say Sony sucks. And he wanted Tommy Mottola, who was married to Mariah Carey before. Michael's friends with Mariah Carey. She used to ring all the time, say all these stories about her ex-husband. I don't know the truth. He was head of Sony Music. He thought Tommy Mottola was a racist because the last album he did, Invincible, didn't really, in Michael Jackson's terms, he wasn't getting any promo for it. And they were making him sign at record store. He's not used to that, and there was no promo happening. So he felt he was being stitched up. And if you make a record deal, you have to give collateral. So you need to give an asset, and they lend you the money or advance your money against the asset. The biggest asset Michael Jackson had was the ATV catalog, which is the Beatles catalog, and lots of other famous people's songs as well. 80 millions of royalties coming the year, and that'll keep growing. So he offered up the ATV. It's what he told me, and it's out there on record. This as his. He wasn't into property or anything. He mortgaged Neverland to the hilt. So he offered up this as an asset, thinking that he would get the same treatment like he did with Thriller, Bad, Dangerous, Off the Wall, and so on. And in his mind, he felt Sony Music was stitching him up. He felt that they got a music catalog here worth $1 billion with 80 million royalties. It's only going to go up in value. Then you've got Michael Jackson, whose kind of reputation has been really damaged lately. Let's not promote his record. Let's leave that dangling. He's going to owe us money, and we've got the Beatles catalog. That's what went through Michael's head. He said, I've outsmarted them out. I know what they're doing. So he sent all his fans to go to, I don't know where, I think it was Oxford Street or something like that. Tottenham Court Road, maybe, something like that, where Sony Music was. And then he wanted to make an appearance. And I said, I advise you, Michael, do not do this. It's dangerous. And then the other bodyguard said, we've got to find a way to keep Michael safe. Bulletproof car? So they don't exist. We couldn't get hold of one in England. It was impossible. Unless you're royal. So he hired a double-decker bus. And he went on a double-decker bus. I went in there with him. The door's shut. and he went outside Sony Music and he put his leg over the Sony sucks. He had it terminate Tommy Mottola, you know, and making sure he's fine. Had all the fans chanting outside Sony, and it went wild. They did the same in New York a week later. Yeah, that was not. He shouldn't have been calling Tommy Mottola racist in public. But again, he had a load of yes men around him, weren't telling the truth. If you told Michael too much the truth, he would just shut you out, change his number, because someone would convince him. You know.
When was that his happiest?
Well, he said to me he's only happy when he's on stage or with his kids. That was basically it. Yeah. I mean, honestly, he was lonely. I mean, probably the loneliest guy I've ever met in my life.
And what about his marriage to Elvis's daughter? Lisa, is it Lisa Marie?
Yeah. Well, that was normal. I mean, I don't want to go into details, but I'm in the room next. People are in the room next door. You can hear noises, right? I used to tease Mike. I used to say, if you had a baby with Lisa, you imagine what it'd be like. Hee hee, he used to be fits of laughter. So I wanted to have a baby with her, but she wouldn't have it. Mm-hmm. She said, "I need to grow up a bit first." She's sadly passed away now too. But no, he was obsessed with Lisa. She didn't cut herself off. She used to come and visit all the time, and would bring him up all the time. And she came to the funeral actually, and she was there. She was the last person I believe to be with Michael to coffin before he was entombed. So they were very close right to the end.
It's a sad existence for these superstars, Very sad.
No glitz and glamour, James.
No.
I was like, you want to be like Michael? No, I do not want to be like Michael. It's like, my God. I've had media scrutiny on me, and it's nothing compared to what this guy's had. I've had to rub off of him helicopters over my house because they think he's staying with me. He was just chased. I remember him called me once, and I could hear this man. He's in the hotel, the Four Seasons Hotel in America, and he called me, and I said, Michael, can you shut off that noise? I can't hardly hear you. I can't, Matt. It's the helicopters. They found out where I am, and they're hovering above the hotel. I was like, geez, man. Mm-hmm. How'd you put up with this?
Yeah. What about his kids? Was his kids his then? Because there was rumours, people saying that he was chemically castrated, so his voice wouldn't change as a kid and shit. There's some serious conspiracy theories out there. It's mad, but all his kids, everything was above board.
So his kids now, James, one thing I've always said, this guy was my mate, right?
Yeah.
When his kids were young, it wasn't so bad. Now they're adults. They got their own opinion, like Prince, Paris, and Biggie, or used to be called Blanket. They obviously know what the situation is out there. And the only thing I don't talk about is his kids, because I think if they want to speak out, they can. What I will tell you is that guy was an amazing dad. He put me to shame. He would shut off all meetings and everything. I'm a workaholic, right? I learned a lot from him. He put me to shame as a dad. I remember on Father's Day once, his kids couldn't come to England because there's £1 million ransom on who could get a picture of Michael Jackson's kids unmasked, and he didn't want to put them at risk. So he had another security team with them in New York with a nanny called Grace, and then me and Michael were in London doing business. And phone calls were coming in, wanting to speak to Mr. Jackson, and I realised Michael was on the phone. I said, Mike, President Clinton's, this is true story, President Clinton called. That's how I'm on the phone to my kids, I'm ringing back. Okay. And he was reading them bedtime stories over the phone on Father's Day. And he's blocked out like 4 or 5 hours on loudspeaker reading them bedtime stories. Unbelievable. He's like, Daddy, please come home. I want you back. It's so close to his kids. And yeah, I'll leave it there because it's their person.
Yeah, let's not respect
It's down to Paris, Prince, and them. They are very well brought up. They're educational. The mask over his face, that was a wise decision. That wasn't his decision, by the way. That was requested by someone else in the family who felt they were kidnap risks, and they were. They were able as children to go out to the park and not be recognised with a nanny. The bodyguard to stay away so they could have some normal existence, Not like when Michael couldn't go to the park with him, he'd have to stay in the car. So he made the smart move of that. So many superstars and celebrities are getting their kids abducted and held to ransom for money. And he was probably the biggest. We got death threats every day, James, under the door sent to us. Not like you get now keyboard warriors, proper death threats, And he masked the kids, but they understood it. They're smart kids. He educated them so well. They knew why. They knew that their daddy taught them about the world and what people are bad out there and jealous of him. And I remember once Paris came up to me. It's quite funny. And she said, my daddy's the most famous man in the world. So really? Who told you that? Paris? My daddy? So he clearly knew he knew who he was. But the kids, they've gone on to do so well. I'm very proud of them. And yeah, I mean, Paris, she's stunning, right? And me and Mark Lester used to bath her when she was a kid. It's like life goes past quick, doesn't it? Literally, we used to bath her when Michael used to go to sleep after hard work. We used to take care of the kids, and yeah, his kids would play with our kids, and yeah, we used to bath her, and now she's like this incredible model. She's got a fantastic career, and yeah, just normal. He had a normal life, and he didn't overspoil her. Like when we go shopping and stuff, he would. Prince and Paris were limited to only 1 or 2 things to buy, and at Neverland, they didn't have access to the fairground and the zoo. They only had so many hours per week that were allowed to go and do that. Michael really gave them a proper firm upbringing. That's why they turned out to be great kids. No.
The prescription pills, obviously,
Yeah.
everybody knows Michael took drugs. It's not cocaine, and he's sitting getting high. But prescription drugs, listen, the pharmaceutical industry kill more people than anything on the planet. But how bad was the drugs that he was taking? When did you really notice it?
I noticed it early on.
Straight away?
Yeah. I mean, probably on the second time I met him properly, I realized there's always a doctor around, but there's always a reason for the doctor to be around, take care of him. He said his body was a machine, the whole Michael Jackson operation. It's a multi-billion business. It wouldn't work unless he's healthy. So I kind of bought into that. Oh dear. When did I first notice? We were going to go, you know, he loved gorillas, like animals, because they didn't screw him up. London Zoo basically said to
He
us.
had a monkey, did you know it?
Yeah, he had loads of monkeys,
Yeah.
Yeah, he had loads of chimps and monkeys and giraffes. He had everything, basically. But London Zoo said that they'll shut off the zoo and he could come and spend some time with the chimpanzees and gorillas. And they're like a charity-based thing. So, and we had a certain time he had to be there. And he kept on sleeping and kept on sleeping. And, yeah, we realised that he was, it wasn't going to happen. So we cancelled on them. He donated some money to them in the end to make up for it. But yeah, we noticed that I didn't see anything being taken, but we noticed the aftermath. He was, slurry or high, and there ought to be a doctor just come out of the room. And I would do my best, but I wish I was a bit more harder on him. But then at the same time, I probably would have been shut out. So Uri Geller would be like, stop this, you know. I'd be with him when you would be shouting this, stop this, you're going to kill yourself. And then I tried it once, right? I said to him, Michael, you're going to end up like Elvis. You carry on like this. Don't you tell me about Elvis. You're just a karate instructor. I know everything about Elvis. I was married to his daughter. That's what he said to me. I said, okay, woo. And I left it like that. And I wish I managed to get a few doctors sacked who prescribed him stuff and gave him medication in states of America that they wouldn't license to give medication. So in America, if you're a doctor in Los Angeles, it doesn't mean you can go and do it in New York. You know, you got to have a license to. So I managed to get rid of a doctor with the help of some other team members who prescribed. It nearly killed him in 2003. Prescribed his medication, and the kids alerted us to that he wouldn't wake up, and we got rid of him on the basis that you either go now and we never hear from you again, or we're going to report you to the authorities that you've gave Michael drugs in a country that you're not licensed to. The doctor, he would have been struck off. We never heard from that guy ever again. But he'd always find another doctor. He's Michael Jackson. He'd get whatever he wanted, you know. That came way before my days. I understand it's from when he got burnt. They prescribed him something called OxyContin, which is like a opiate-based drug linked to the heroin family, which gave him a relaxed feeling. But he had good years, James. I mean, from after the trial, Jermaine organised to try and clean him up. Jermaine's a Muslim, so he wanted Michael to have no alcohol drinking, no drugs. So Jermaine organised for him to go to Bahrain. And in Bahrain, you can't get your hands on anything, any alcohol, nothing. And the Prince of Bahrain looked after him. And he stayed there. We went to visit him, me and Mark Lester did. And he was great. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing. He was awesome, ready to go again. But as soon as he landed back, then he went to live in Southern Ireland and he recorded Thriller 25, like an anniversary special. And Akon flew in and Will.i.am came in. As soon as he went back to Las Vegas in 2007, he was looking for a residency to like Britney Spears has just done and Celine Dion's done, to stay in Vegas, still be with his kids, be in a house. He's going to buy a new house called Wonderland. He was going to buy. He was losing Neverland, unfortunately, due to financial struggles. And he was going to stay there. That was his dream, to be like Elvis. But no one really felt that he was that reliable. And he didn't get, all he got offered was the 50 shows, well, actually 10 shows. It was at the O2 Arena for AEG. And he had to move to LA for that and leave Vegas. So that was his goal, to stay in Las Vegas. He loved Las Vegas.
Why was he in financial struggles, though, if he had the Beatles catalogue and Eminem's catalogue?
His outgoings was more than his income. It's very expensive to be Michael Jackson. You know, you got... When we would do things together, the footage of me going shopping with him in Oxford Street in New York, it'd just be me, him, and one other person. And sometimes, the greatest times I had with him, he'd knock and wake me up at 3 a.m, like, let's get in a cab. And we get a black cab. You put a cap on in the middle of the night and we'll go around Big Ben and Buckingham Palace. And oh dear, he had one mad idea once, right? Oh, we nearly got shot. We come outside Buckingham. He just thought, being Michael Jackson, he would have been okay and had the connection with Diana. He was obsessed about getting to the princes, right? Because he just couldn't see an issue with it. He's with kings and queens all the time. So we get a black cab and we're outside Buckingham Palace, just me and him, about 3:34 in the morning. And he said, listen, I'm gonna go and tell them Michael Jackson to come on it. So I go up to the guy and you know, the freaking proper guards with the hats on, or what they're called, the Queen's guards. I said, I got Michael Jackson in the taxi. I know this sounds mental. I'm mad. Honestly, it is. He knew Princess Diana. I understand Prince William, Prince Harry's in there. He would like them to know. He'd hang around till they wake up and so on. And they were quite firm with me. Get back in that car now. And slammed his foot on the floor. Flipping heck. So I went back in the car and said, no, Michael, forget it, man. That guy's he's gonna shoot me or something. And Michael got out of the car. I said, no, let me have a go anyway. He said, hi. I said, it's me. So I want to see me. I want to see, I want to meet Prince William and Harry. And can you let me in? And get out of the car now. And he just ran to the back cab and we carried on touring London. He's like, whoa, that was a close shave, you know. But he's not used to getting rejected like that. He normally pretty much used to turn up at the Bee Gees or Barry Gibb's house in the middle of the night, knock on the door. He lives on Palm Beach and Barry let him in, you know. He's not used to being turned away and so forth. But yeah, that was my best memories of going around black cab and not noticed. But being Michael was expensive and people just took advantage of him. I mean, that's basically it. The crazy money that was spent. He used to say to me, Neverland was $1 million a month just to run. The joke was he was never at Neverland. He's never there. He hated being there. He liked to be in a hotel suite where he had an extra layer of protection with the hotel staff, you know, and being on the suites. He had a suite in a Beverly Wilshire hotel called the Michael Jackson Suite, and he hated the drive from Neverland to LA. It was like a 3.5 hour drive, a really windy car sick. He hated that. He'd rather stay in LA to do business than Michael Jackson Suite. And
when was the last time you seen him alive?
do you know when we announced he announced the shows at the O2 Arena? So it all came as a bit of a surprise. So I got a phone call. It's an honest show. I got a phone call from Michael, and he said to me, I'm coming to London. I want to see you, and I want you to be there. I'm coming back on the road. I need to do shows, but I'm going to be a residency at O2 Arena. You know, he had his rivalry with Prince, yeah? So I want to beat Prince. But he was concerned he wouldn't sell out shows. He didn't know how the public were going to react after the 2000 allegations. He was unsure on how the ticket sales were going to be. I was pretty damn certain it was going to be just fine. So he was only going to release 10 shows. And if demand exceeded it up to 50. Now, Prince did 21 shows, was in the Guinness Book of Records. Michael wanted to smash Prince's record. That was his motivation. Not the money or nothing else. He needed the money, but nothing else. So I said, Michael, I'll make myself available. I'll book myself out. And this time he wanted to do things differently. He didn't want his children trapped in the Dorchester Hotel, the Lanesborough Hotel, for basically a 4 or 5 month period, because we'd do a show one night, day off, and another show. He rented a house just outside in Surrey, a big mansion. He kitted it out how he wanted to with his furniture. And we would get to the O2 Arena by coming down the River Thames. So we don't get faced by paparazzi and fans. Very different experience. So the kids aren't locked up all the time. AEG sorted all that out. Me and Mark Lester found the house and FaceTime. Well, actually, it was Skype back then that we used. And yeah, all was looking good. Always looking like it was going the right place. And then he comes to announce the concerts. We meet him at Lanesborough Hotel. I got a phone call from someone at AEG, the concert promoter, want to put the money up. They own the O2 Arena, by the way, that company. And they said, Matt, we need you to come to Lanesborough right away. I was in Devon at the time. Mark Lester was already with him, his best mate, the same age. Mark Lester was a child star. So they grew up being in magazines together, world famous. Him as Oliver Twist, Black Beauty, and so on. I get to Lanesborough Hotel, and one of the AEG guys says to me, you need to effing go and sort your superstar friends out now. And I said, which one, Mark? So no, the more famous one. He's supposed to be doing a speech in a couple of hours announcing these concerts that we're funding for him. And he said, remember, we pay for the toilet roll he wipes his butt with. That's what he said to me. I was like, flipping out. I get into Michael's bedroom, Mark's with him, and he's trying to sober Michael up. Bless him. He was so nervous, he drank half a bottle of whiskey. And it's in court documents now, what happened there. And we had to sober him up, reassure him, you're going to be fine, Mike. You know, we'll look after you. My team will be there. We were looking after you. He had an American team with him there too. Got him on the bus. He made the announcement, got back. He was crying and so nervous. And if someone walked in and said, whispered in my ear saying all the 10 shows are gone, they sold in 2 minutes. So I go up to Mike and said, Mike, he said, how do we do, Matt? How do we do? I said, they're all gone, buddy, in 2 minutes. The phone lines are rammed. What do you want to do? And he went and he had a meeting with AEG. I don't know what was said. I wasn't present. The next thing, another 40 shows were released and they sold out within minutes too. AEG told me they could have done 300 shows. There's so much demand. And so he was going to do one night in, one night off to recover. My family, Mark Lester's family, our kids and Mark Lester's kids, who he's godparents to them and Michael Jackson's godparents to the others, we were going to live with him at this house to make sure he sleeps properly, he eats properly. When he performs, he normally uses 3.5 pounds of weight. And we want to stop him going on drips and all this nonsense, make sure he eats proper food and goes to bed. And that was the plan. But yeah, it never happened. So I spoke to him on the Tuesday night before he died. He died on a Thursday. He called me up at home. I was in Barnstable. And the last time I met him, I left him at London after he saw the shows. Like Michael was happy, he was crying, happy tears, great. And then I got invited up on the Thursday afternoon. He went to see a show. I can't remember what it is now. He went to see a West End show. Oh, he went to see Oliver Twist. Of course he did. And it was ironic because Mark was there, who was the original Oliver. And as they're coming out of that, Mark said, why don't you come and hang out with us for the night? His favourite meal was fish and chips, and he liked to order it himself. So we went to Knightsbridge. He walked in and got it all wrapped up. He liked the way they all do it in England. And we sat on the floor at the Lanesborough Hotel, me, Mark Lester and Michael. We ate fish and chips together. And he said, I'm worried I'm going to be shot on stage, Matt. And he turned to Mark. He said, Mark, you're godfather to all 3 of my kids. If anything happens, I get shot on stage, you look after me. You probably should look after my kids. So yeah. So Michael, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to, no one's going to get killed by a shot. Yeah, they love you. You just sold out 50 shows. The ironic thing is, he did die of a shot. He died of a shot of anesthetic, you know. But he called me on the Tuesday night. My wife answered, the rehearsal wife answered the phone. She said, Michael's here. He wants to speak to you urgently. Got him on the phone. He didn't sound good, James. I said, what's up, buddy? He said, I'm on the way to rehearsals. And I said, damn, man, working me so hard. I said, you took something in your voice. I just took ephedrine, Matt. The doctor gave it to me, it's prescription. Don't worry about that. I'm fine. It makes me perform better because they're making me rehearse. But I've been doing this for over 30 years. They're working me so hard. He said, I need to speak to Joseph, meaning his dad. Where's Joseph? I was like, geez. I said, your dad's in Vegas. I'll give you his number. He never asked for Joseph before, you know, over that time in the car. So I thought, strange. I said, you okay? He said, Joseph's the only person who can sort this shit out. It's a mess. So I got no one's numbers, nothing. I've got scrap papers everywhere. I don't know where I am, what's going on. I'm being controlled. I'm being made to rehearse. And I said, okay, whoa. So here's Joseph's number. I gave Joseph's number. He said, where's Mark's number? He couldn't get everyone's number. He spoke to my daughter, Madison, and had a conversation with her. He tried to speak to my daughter, Lola, but she was a bit young, but that's the way Michael worked. He spoke to every member of the family. I said, you're going to be okay. We chatted for half an hour. And then I said, look, call Joseph and he will be at your side, you know, because he's tried to so much in the past. He would love that call out. And he wanted Mark to be out there. He wanted me to give up my time and get on a plane straight away, but I had 3 kids and a wife and my marriage was falling apart. I didn't think he was going to die, James, you know. I thought he was just going to cancel the concerts. That's happened many times. Anyway, he calls Mark. Mark says the same. I'm a single dad of 4 children. I can't come, Michael, but I'll do my best to get to LA with you as soon as I can. He left a message on Joseph Jackson's answer phone saying, Joseph, I need you in LA. You're the only person who can sort this mess out. Please come. Sadly, Joseph didn't pick that up until late on the Thursday, and Michael was already dead by then. Yeah. So I sat at home and the phones were ringing off the hook. Uri Geller was the first person to ring me because he's the go-to person for Michael Jackson, saying I got Fox News, CNN on the phone. They all say Michael's had a heart attack. Just one of his publicity stunts. Amount of times I rang that guy and he's laughing at me, saying, I'm behind that story, you know, sticky tape all over his face where he cut himself shaving and he promised to take the kids to the bookstore. He's plastered. I said, I'm going to ring him again because he's got a concert in a few weeks' time. It's too clear. It's a publicity stunt. That's not true. I spoke to him on Tuesday. He's fine. Then a phone call came to Yuri saying, are you sure, Matt? Because I've got everyone. I'm going down my driveway. My mobile phones are going off the hook. And I hear the landline going off the hook. So I said, Michael's a genius of publicity, Yuri. You know what he's like. And then on my other phone, I see the phone flash up, Mark Lester. And I think, now he is close to Michael. He speaks to the nanny. He's via that circle, you know? And I thought, geez. So I said, Yuri, I better go. Mark's calling me. I answer the phone. I said, Matt, where are you? I said, I'm in the living room. It's not good news, is it, Mark? Said, listen, buddy, Michael's dead. So I just spoke to the nanny, Grace, and she's screaming down the phone, Michael's dead. What's happened? So I don't know. But he's dead. And no one was reporting it on the news at the time because they're too scared to be the first person. So after about an hour, it flashed to Michael Jackson's in a coma. I knew he died by that point. I had his brothers ringing me and, are you with my brother? What's going on? And I already knew. And I'd say, I don't know. What's going on? I'm not with him. And and then later on, LA News got confirmation from the coroner, and it turned to Michael Jackson passed away age 50. And the media were harsh after that. We had helicopters over the house and everything. It was madness after madness. And yeah, when someone's dead, you can't defame a dead person, by the way. That's why hence all this negative stuff come out. You can say what you want about Michael. He can't sue you. You can't defame. That law needs to be changed so the state can sue or something. You can say what you want about them. But yeah, that's how last conversation I had was on the Tuesday night.
Did they think he was going to get killed? Could that have possibly...
Michael did.
Could that have possibly been a murder, or was it just one of those things that was always going to happen because of all the drugs that he took over the years?
Well, Michael felt that he was going to be assassinated for his money. He thought he was going to be killed for his Beatles catalogue, if I'm honest with you. That's what he used to say all the time. I just thought it was a mad conspiracy theory. But, I mean, from my point of view, the truth of the matter is, the doctor, Conrad Murray, I spoke to Conrad Murray when he came out of jail. I wanted to hear him out, and he wanted to speak to me. He did an interview with some newspaper promoting his book, and he said, he quotes in it, Michael Jackson was begging me to contact Mark Lester and Matt Fiddes to come and stay with him. He writes that in this news article. He got interviewed by the Mail or Sun. It's out there on Google for people to read. That came to my attention. I thought, okay, I'll hear Conrad Murray out. Now, this guy was just a family doctor recommended by another bodyguard when we were in Las Vegas. The kids had the flu. We can't rock up to a GP surgery with Michael Jackson. It doesn't work out that well, or hospital. It's a chaos. So we took this recommendation. Conrad Murray comes in, a doctor, great guy, lovely bloke, treats the kids, became friends with Michael. Over the course of a few years, whenever the kids were ill, we'd pop in and so forth. When we moved to Los Angeles, Michael lost that relationship with Conrad Murray. And I don't think he was licensed to prescribe in LA, just in Vegas. And he wanted Conrad Murray to come to the O2 concerts with him. And there was a whole procedure to get his license to prescribe to be a doctor in London, which he was applying for. He was just like a family doctor. That's all we thought anyway. And I didn't know the crazy stuff that was going on. The oxygen tanks and all that was going on in the bedroom. Yeah, and it turned out that from Conrad Murray, what he told me on the phone, which was when I spoke to him after he came out of jail, he did serve 2 years, he told me, I didn't know I was getting involved with an addict, Matt. And I got in too deep. I gave up 4 practices, cardiologist. I gave up 4 practices. I never got paid a penny from Michael. AG never paid me, or Michael never paid me. I think it was 150,000 a month. He got agreed, something like that, some mad figure. I was the fall guy for all the other doctors, and there's some truth to that. There is. There's doctors out there should be in jail. They're still practicing right now. And I just want to say my piece. I got in too deep. I just didn't realize that Michael had a sleeping problem. He also, in the daytime, he was going to this other doctor who was working on the anesthetic side and taking this Demerol. And you can't just cut that drug off after using that for a few months. That doctor couldn't come to London with him and give him Demerol, Pethidine. So Michael didn't tell Conrad Murray, according to Conrad Murray, that he was also seeing a doctor in the daytime. He told him he was going off to rehearsals. So Conrad Murray said he was treating Michael for insomnia, when in fact he should have been treating him for, drug withdrawal symptoms. He was like a monster walking around. He couldn't sleep or anything. Just nothing would work. And he would have took him to rehab and treated him differently had he known he was going to this other doctor in the daytime. I didn't forgive Conrad, and I said to Conrad, what you did was wrong, and you owe the kids an apology. He don't think he does. He thinks that Michael did it to himself. He felt Michael woke up when he was left in the room, and he just pressed the syringe and flooded his body with, by accident. He felt he only gave him enough for him to knock himself to sleep. That was it. And yeah, I mean, what can I say? I wasn't there. Only the doctor knows what really happened.
Could that have been a suicide?
Michael would never suicide. He would have done that years ago. One thing he'd always say, I'll cut my wrist before I commit suicide. He would never do that to his children, James. He loved his kids so much. Mm-hmm. He loved his fans, adored his fans. He would never do that. That's not the legacy he wanted. Maybe accidental, possibly. But I think what really, the doctor was done from accidental voluntary manslaughter in the end. I think what happened is he was taking this drug, which me and you would go for an operation for, general anesthetic. He was giving Michael to that, not in an environment where he should have been monitored by heart monitors and oxygen monitors. None of that was in place. And he possibly, well, it's what he was done for, was gave it to him the wrong way, fell asleep, never woke up. And his story that Michael woke up and gave it to himself, I don't think it's possible. From my understanding, if you just, as soon as that stuff hits your bloodstream, you would fall asleep. And they did fingerprints on the end of the syringe and stuff, and nothing's shown up. Only Conrad Murray. So
Yeah, well, he's done it then, hasn't he?
yeah, it's an accidental or whatever. It was wrong. It was wrong for him to administer. He should have said no. He should have dug harder. Well, Michael, he gave up all his doctor practices. If you look at it another way, he needed the money, right? That was the thing. So he was being a yes man, another yes man, doctor to Michael, which is very dangerous.
Yeah. Do you think you would have even finished the 40 shows with his age and how frail he was? And
I called Uri Geller up. When Michael told me he called the show This Is It, that's what he's going to announce it. I called Uri Geller up. Michael's coming to London. Do you want to see him? Michael wants to see you and repair the damage of the Martin Bashir thing. He understands it's not your fault that Michael picked Martin Bashir, and he had Sir David Frost and Louis Theroux. Louis Theroux went and did his own documentary in the end and followed us, but he couldn't actually. He was so funny. He's put notes under his smiley faces. Please let me have an interview. He interviewed Michael's dad. He was hilarious. But yeah, he wanted to meet Uri and stuff and repair it, but no. When I said to Uri, these shows are called This Is It, yeah, they will be This Is It. There's no way Mike can do, and Uri knew him better than I did. No way he could do. What human could do that? I mean, that'd be like me doing a workout for 4 hours on every other night, full on with no break. Michael doesn't just stand there with a microphone; he's full on. You know, he loses 3.5 pounds a night. In my head, I felt he would do 2 or 3 shows, and then he would put a sickie, get paid anyway on his insurance. Oh, by the way, he passed the full medical. That's the other thing. All this nonsense that he's ill and frail. AEG wanted him insured up. He passed a full medical examination. Mm-hmm. He was seen as a man in his 20s, so fit. He needed a hip operation a little bit, and he had a bit of arthritis in his ankle, but other than that,
it's sad though when you see like your Whitney Houstons, your Elvis, your Michael Jackson, how they all ended up with the drugs. Just that fame, it's not normal. For anybody watching that's maybe skeptical of Michael Jackson, all the question marks with the fucking paedophilia and all the other shit that goes with it, what would you say to them?
Look at what's going on to the current world. Look at the people now being accused. Look at Russell Brand. You know, media attacking him when there's no criminal thing filed. Trial by media now, isn't it? I can name so many names, but it's controversial. And people like Fiddes Schofield's another one, isn't it? He's a bit of a saint now, but for a few weeks, he was the most hated person ever. He's now the most in-demand, wanted back on TV presenter there ever is. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Max Clifford, the famous publicist, was put in jail for crimes he did 30, 40 years ago. He didn't even remember who they were. I'm not saying that, I don't know if they were true or not.
What about Michael Jackson's celebrity friends? Who was his close ones?
Chris Tucker.
Did you meet Chris?
Yeah. Not so much like he'd be around, but he would just like steal the room. The guy was so funny, just looking at him with his big eyes and his funny face would make you crack up. Eddie Murphy was a good friend. His closest friend out of all of them was Macaulay. He told me this. Macaulay Culkin was his closest friend. Mac was his closest friend. Elizabeth Taylor also would ring up all the time and be there for him all the time. But Mac was his closest friend.
Do you miss him?
I miss Michael massively, man. I mean, it's jeez, man. I had to go through a whole counselling process after because everyone wants to talk about Michael Jackson. And I know Elvis Presley bodyguard very well. He's also a martial artist called Bill Wallace. Bill Superfoot Wallace, they call him. He also bodyguard for John Belushi. He takes the mick out of him. He said, "You weren't there for Michael, were you?" When he died, I said, "Well, you can talk. You had John Belushi and Elvis Presley die on your watch."
These are all fucking jinxies, used bodyguards.
Yeah. And he's taking the mick out of me. You lost Elvis and John Belushi on your watch, but I wasn't there that night. But he said to me, because what really annoyed me is up until the point when Michael died, I was 29, 2009, and I was known as the businessman, entrepreneur, multi-millionaire, successful martial arts champion, etc. But as soon as he died, any media about me always had to start off with Michael Jackson's former bodyguard. Hang on a minute, forget about me, mate, about me. Even when I did Rich House Poor House, I banned them for mentioning Michael Jackson. We had a contract in place. But the bloody media around it when I appeared on it, Michael Jackson's bodyguards on Rich House, it was a waste of time. I banned them. I wanted it to be about my career for a change, not about Mike, you know? But yeah, I miss him massively. He was my mate, my best friend. I could tell him anything. I learned so much from him. He taught me how to franchise. I love for him to see what I've gone on to do and meet my kids he never met. And and what Mark's gone on to do and see his kids, he's missed out his kids growing up. I mean, it's devastating. The whole thing is just tragedy. And also the world misses him, I think. There's no one like Mike, James. I used to say that I used to enjoy the rehearsals more than performance. That guy was just electric. I used to say to him, where did that come from? How do you go from being so shy and you get a microphone, you're an animal? He said, I don't know. It just comes from above. I've got no idea. Yeah, it's just an insane talent. Just unbelievable. Just,
How was the funeral?
Yeah, the funeral was controversial because he had many funerals. He had a memorial one for the fans. He had another funeral, and then I think his brain got took away 3 times because no one would want to believe the autopsy. There's so much conspiracy around how he really died. No one wanted to see him dying as a drug overdose. A lot of people thought he was killed, and yeah, it was dragged out for many, 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 many times. And I think the family did it right. I think the kids were in a hard place because suddenly they were thrown into this family, and their dad wasn't around, and Mrs. Jackson, Catherine, decided it's enough with the mass now. Let the world see them who they are. Let them deal with life, which I think was the right move at the time. So they became celebrities in their own rights, you know. Yeah, we all got. If I'm honest with you, we all got when Michael died. All of us, including Mark, who's godfather to Michael Shoe, we all got shut out. Yeah, we all got shut out. We every now and then I speak to one of the brothers, but we all got shut out for whatever reason. I don't know. I think everyone was after Michael's money. I mean, when he was dead, he became rich again. He died 500 million in debt, and now he's worth billions. They got the biopic which they're recording at the moment, where Jermaine's son Jafar just looks like Michael, sounds like Michael, dances like him. And the same people who did Bohemian Rhapsody, Freddie Mercury's life story, they're working with Michael Jackson's estate and the family. They reckon it's going to be the biggest movie of all time. Comes out next year. And that'd be interesting. They got someone playing me. They need to get someone to grow a ponytail and hopefully pick someone handsome. But
are you going to be in it?
I don't know. I don't know. There's a little chit chat going on at the minute, but I don't know.
Still a great thing, man. It's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it's 20 years.
Doesn't matter. Like I say, it's the fucking biggest name on the planet. It's unbelievable that you were so shoulder to shoulder with this
will
guy.
clear up the nonsense, James. He will educate.
So is it going to be
generation.
a positive for Michael Jackson and not a negative? Everything you see is negative. I even think some of the radio stations don't even play his music anymore because of the controversy with him.
Yeah. But the trouble is they make so much money off the back of it, they can't not. I mean, they went for a period that did happen. They tried to cancel Michael, but he's too big to cancel. The documentaries that tell you the truth are not out there. If you go to Amazon, you can watch Chase the Truth, Man Behind the Mirror, where they explain and break down about the train station not being there and all this type of stuff. But it's not a mainstream, is it?
Did Corey Feldman not come forward?
No, he said come forward and said nothing ever happened. And he said, I'm a crazy. If anyone was going to go for it, it'd be me. I mean, the Macaulay's made millions from Home Alone and everything. Yeah. Corey came forward and said, it took his time, but he came forward and said, look, didn't want to speak out. I was the perfect guy who fit the narrative that the mainstream media wanted to believe in. And he did nothing to me. Yeah, there's loads of people hanging around Mike. It's just nonsense, man. The whole idea of him fiddling kids, right? It's just ridiculous. Let's look at it from another point of view, right? So I had this conversation with one of his other friends. My other friend brought it up. He's a doctor, and he said, if these boys were having sessions with Michael, you know, whatever, at 7, 8 years old, the doctors told me it ain't physically possible. They're not even sexually active. They haven't got the hormones to make it happen. It just can't be possible. At the ages that they were claiming to be their age, you know. I didn't think of that. They're not going through puberty yet. It's complete and utter bull. I mean, the guy was into women, but social media come along and just erupted this whole Motown taught me this, Motown taught me not to be married, I mustn't show my sexuality. He didn't want to upset gay. He's such a lovely bloke. He didn't want to upset gay people or anyone. But his girlfriend has signed, I think she signed an agreement, but she's been out and talked to the media, but no one wants to listen. It's just, German Clubhouse is big. Me and my friend Rob Moore, we ran a big, massive Clubhouse room, and I got his girlfriend on Clubhouse as a guest, and it went down really well. And we had the media join, but no one reported off the back of it. She got a published book. If that published book was not true, the estate would have sued and all sorts, you know. But yeah, what can you do? I mean, I can't change the narrative. It's if he was here, he would be suing like crazy. They wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't have spoke out. And the whole perjury thing, didn't answer that one, did I? So the perjury thing, Wade Robson, why wasn't he done for lying on oath? I asked the question to Michael's lawyers. They said in America, in Los Angeles, if you get past, I think it's 7 years, they can't go back. It's a safe zone. So Wade was doing all these tribute acts, trying to get in Cirque du Soleil, trying to be MJ1 in Vegas to do show with control, but the estate, meeting with the estate, got turned down. And then when he got to, was it 2012, something like 2015, his program come out, 16, it was like 13 years since Michael had died. So he's long past the stage where the lawyers can come at him for perjury. Yeah.
What do you think about it, looking back on it all now?
Yeah, well, at the time it was normal. I just wish I could have done more, but I was part of this insane network. Forget about Michael's pop star. The way he fought was not like we think. He fought out of the box. That's good. Let's make it better, you know? Up your game, Matt. Be respectful to my fans. One thing he taught me, which I observed with him, and I've seen with other stars, they don't do very well when they go to the movie premieres. They just run in when it's raining. That man would sign autographs. Like Tom Cruise is very good at that. He would work the crowd. It'd take him hours to get wet through. Michael would remind us, be kind to the fans because they put me where I am. That's why Michael Jackson exists. Mm-hmm. This is what controls it. Be nice to my fans. Be respectful to my fans. And
how's life like now?
yeah, I mean, it's just it's great, man. I mean, I'm more of a business mentor, entrepreneur, teach people to start scale businesses now and so forth. But yeah, it's great. We've still got the biggest chain of martial arts school in the world. We're expanding all around the world. And I still get asked about Mike every day, and he's a big part. He's 10 years of my life, so I would not be asked about him. I've learned to accept it, and I wouldn't lie, it does open doors, and sometimes it shuts doors too. And I've learned to live with the whole Michael Jackson bodyguard thing. You learn to accept it, like Elvis Presley bodyguard told me. I'm proud of it now. I'm proud to be by my mate's side. And I've got his back in death, just like I did in life. And that's, you know, everyone could talk what they want about him, but I was there. And I saw everything, and the guy was fought out of the box. He was just unbelievable. You see that in his music videos. If you play back Smooth Criminal and Thriller, they're still current. The guy was ahead of his time. He was thinking ahead of his time. He was thinking about 4D before it was even a thing. You know, if had that show gone ahead in O2 Arena, you guys would have been blown away. He had waterfalls coming down, and he invented a new moonwalk. It was going to be unbelievable.
He says he was going to expose something. Do you know what it was? He says he was going to just pull the curtain down on everything. I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah. Well, he's going to
done an interview on the stage.
I could say, but yeah, basically all the kids' stuff would have been blown to pieces by what he was going. Yeah, basically you would have known he was into women. It would have been. That might still happen. It just takes a certain someone to speak out. It could still happen. That would just kill off all the kid rumors. Mm-hmm. I've got videos and pictures, James, that I could release to the media, which will kill that off. I mean, he's snogging a woman in the back of the freaking car. And we're like, can you, Mike, can you get a room? And like, I'm just chewing gum, honestly, you know. Oh, dear me. And it's not just me, the other bodyguards too. I wasn't with him for the last 2 years. I was his friend, not his bodyguard. And they did a book about it called Remember the Time. Bill Whitfield and all the lads, and they were with him, and they said, what's all this kid stuff? This guy's got women coming in and out all over the place, kissing on the back of the limo, and when he lived in Vegas for 2 years before he moved to LA. So I know, it's mad, isn't it? We just can't understand it.
Did they have any regrets, Michael?
Yeah, he did, but he said, I wish I practiced more. I'm like, what? How can you practice anymore, man? You know, you're at your peak. You can't do any more than what you've done. I wish I practiced more. I wish I rehearsed more. I wish I worked harder on my art, my craft.
It's still mad that you were so young and in that company.
Oh, jeez.
And it's fucking nuts.
People ask all the time, would you be where you were if it wasn't for him? And it's kind of hard to answer that, isn't it?
Doesn't really matter. You were there.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. No. Like I say, everything's business. Everything's to...
business. It was show business.
You know what I mean? Everything's, like you say, you became a friend and you've got his back and you're sitting here. I don't know if everything you're saying is 100%, but people can only take what you're saying.
Well, you could make this up, could you?
Yeah, I've got
it's off the cuff, you know, it's this, you know, it's the, yeah, mate, he's my mate, and that was that. But it's hard to convince the public, I know.
What was Britney Spears in that like?
Britney's a lovely girl. She's lovely. And
she seems to be losing her shit now as well, unless that's a publicity stunt that Michael used to do.
Well, she's sharp, she's intelligent, and she did a duet with Michael in 2001, The Way You Make Me Feel, at Madison Square Garden. It's the last big concert he ever did. And I spent time with Britney, and she's a smart cookie, but she'll be just fine now. She'll be okay.
Was there any other celebrities you go, do you know what, they were sound? Massive names?
Yeah, they're all, the bigger the star, the nicer the person. That's what I normally find. The reality stars are normally the ones that are harder to deal with. Yeah, the superstars are all right. anyone who sticks out, Elizabeth Taylor was lovely, man. She was so nice. I'm trying to think of Marlon Brando. He was incredible. He used to come and stay at Neverland all the time. He was there just before he died. I think it was 2003. He was there. Michael wanted to be with him. I've pretty much met everyone. I mean, I've had a mad life, James. Even now, like my association, not my own career as well, and linked to his and my network of friends, pretty much wherever I go in the world, if I want to be on TV, as long as I talk a little bit about him, I can get on anything. You know, it's just...
Yeah. How much were people, because I had someone on who was a bodyguard of Diana or Doddy.
Yeah.
And they used to get £1 million a photo for an exclusive of Princess Di.
Yeah,
it must have been about the same for Michael Jackson. Huh?
I'll tell you a story of this then, right? So, yeah, the fee for, so the big tabloid at the time would offer News of the World, it was £1 million for any paparazzi you could get a picture of Mike, anything unusual, especially his kids. And that was the thing. So I was, where the hell was I? I was in London. I went to visit one of my martial arts schools, actually, and on the way back, in Uxbridge. And on the way back, I had a reporter call me, and they said, listen, we know you're really close to Michael. You'll be seeing him next week. We'll offer you £1 million. We'll give you half up front and half. Also, if you get pictures of the children unmasked, just one shot, that's it. I was like, you can F off, do one. No chance. I didn't need the money. I wouldn't do that to my friend. Put the phone down. Now I remember to myself, I thought, God, I've got to make sure I tell Michael. I tried getting hold. I couldn't get to Mike. His number changed all the time. I've got to wait for him to ring me back because he gets harassed all the time and he's flying all over the place. So I left a message with PA. And I said, can you get Michael to ring me urgently? He didn't ring me. I saw him in person, and I was in the car with him. We're being driven to a meeting. And he said, Matt, how's life? I said, good. Anything happened recently you want to tell me about? No. Michael, I forgot to tell you. I've had this journalist call me, and they offer £1 million for pictures of the kids. Be careful. They got a ransom out, tried to convince me to take the money. Just want to be transparent. We let you know. Good, man. Matt, you're such a loving guy. You're so loyal. So I said, why? That was me, buddy. That was me. I put a voice on. It was me speaking to you. Yeah. I thought I was talking to a reporter. I was talking to Michael. He put a voice on. He's so good. He can act. He could do everything. He could change his voice and stuff. And I said, you got me, you know?
That's fucking mad, isn't it?
Yeah. He tested me. He tested my loyalty.
Yeah.
I fair play
he had to, because he's doing paranoid as fuck.
Yeah, he tested me.
Yeah, like I say, it's unbelievable.
One of his entourage said he couldn't trust Matt Fiddes. Couldn't trust him. So he put a test on me. He put a voice on. And he had this thing, we had this device. So whenever he'd answer the phone, it'd be like a robot sound. And then when he realised it's really genuine, me or one of his mates, he'd switch it and he'd talk to you, just in case there's someone trying to stitch him up on the phone line or something, you know. I mean, the funniest thing, prankster man, I was in New York, and we were go to watch Toy Story 2, I think it was. Michael said, go and meet me in the underground car park. I said, yeah, no problem. I said, dress down, Mike, so you don't get recognised, because it'll be chaos. We weren't shutting down the cinema. So I go in we call it the chase car. And Michael would normally sit with me in the chase car, and let the media think he was the one in front. So a bit more safety there. He took flipping ages. And finally, Michael comes in and sits next to me, and he's got his face mask on, the fedora, dangerous tall world jacket, the loafers, everything you see Michael Jackson as he has it on. I'm like, Mike, I thought you'd try not to be recognised. He's like, what's you're in a bit of a mood today? And then he started driving, and I thought, asked a few questions. I got a few one-word answers. I thought, guys, you're all right. You're a bit grumpy. Did you get more sleep? So I hope you get better maybe by the time we get to Toy Story, get to the theatre. And we started circling it's normal. We'd circle around and do a recce, we call it first, before we get Mike out. And my mobile goes, and Michael said, you better get that. It's from a withheld number. I answer the phone. Hey, Matt. Hi. Gotcha. It was Michael. Freaking body double next to me. There's a body double next to me. The guy was on like a salary to divert attention. He was already at the movies waiting for me.
See, his hair, was that all wigs then? Did his hair start falling out?
He wore wigs. They were in his room, but it's because of the
burn.
The burn.
Yeah. It's sad, isn't it, as well? Like I say, if everything
it took me years to work that out. I must have been stupid or something, because in the morning he'd have a different hairstyle, and in the afternoon he'd come out and his hair would be longer. I don't know why. I just thought he had a great hairstylist, but To me, I didn't obviously ask about the wigs, but yeah, I saw them in the end. I got it. It's due to the burn, yeah.
It's mad that you did spend so long with him and get to know the guy, and it's unbelievable the stories that you've just told as well, because there's a lot more to you, the entrepreneur and stuff like that. Like, again, for anybody that's watching, it's maybe want to be an entrepreneur or start a business. What's the sort of in thing to go to?
I think you've got whatever you're passionate about, whatever you love doing, your hobby, your passion, turn that into your hobby to your career, your passion into your profession. Do something you love or don't do it at all, because you're going to have to graft this, It's not easy. There's no get rich quick scheme out there. Get rich slow. That's what you want to be involved in. And for me, you got to earn 6 figures in the passion that you have and invest into property. That's, for me, real estate. That's my formula, which I teach people to do. And then scale your business out through franchising or licensing. But yeah, it's not that hard to do, but find something you love, monetize it, and then you'll have that passion and drive to want to keep doing it. Do something you don't love, couldn't think of anything worse. So I love what I do. I don't need to work anymore, but I work like crazy because I love it. If I want to take a day off, I can. I want all my franchises to be where I am. They're like family to me, The downside to my career is that my siblings and my family, we've not spoke for like 16 years because it's careers get in the way. It's hard. You see that a lot with successful people, and there is some downsides to being successful. And yeah, my biggest regret for me is I would not have let my family life kind of go the way it's gone. I was very close to one of my brothers, extremely close. Every day, like, we were together for 12 years, but yeah, my ego, my success got a bit head to me a bit, and I think, I wish I worked on that. Kind of hard for us to get together now because we've got nothing in common. It'd be difficult.
You've gained a lot from Michael Jackson, but you seem to have sacrificed a lot to be with him as well. Do you see that as like how much you actually sacrificed to be with this guy? And again, it's that attraction. Listen, Michael Jackson's on the phone. He's a fucking global phenomenon. Like, he's one in 100 billion. Whether there'll be another guy like that to ever come around again and change music, dancing, everything that he'd done. Like, do you look back and realise that we actually sacrificed to just be with that guy?
I look back and realise that my adulthood was not normal, but I wouldn't change it, James. I just would have not, when he clicked his fingers, I wouldn't have jumped off an island with my rehearsal wife and ruined relationships and friendships just because of my friendship with a megastar. I could have been a bit harder on him with the drug thing, possibly, and so on. I don't know. We all think that we could have been the one to save someone, but he can only save himself.
Hindsight, it's also a wonderful thing. If you put it on him and told him straight, he's got, like you say, you're going to get fucking bombed out.
Do you know what? When I realised, I had a certain amount of ego. So how can you not? How can you be 18 years old to 30, not have a bit of an ego about you when your best mates are superstars? I used to wonder why people hated me in North Devon, Barnstable, but now I get it. I had long hair, permed, down, muscled up pecs, driving a Ferrari 355 Spider with the roof off in the flipping winter with baby oil on, making millionaires. My best mate's a superstar, and I wonder why the town in North Devon hated me. That's not normal, is it? I get it now when I look back, but I think I would have. It's lessons you can't teach. It's the school of hard knocks. You have to go for it. Now I teach people. If they listen, they listen. But you got to put your family first and your health. So I got woke up when my mum called me. She got 6 months to live. She was my flipping rock. Like, I talked to her 15, 20 times a day. That's no exaggeration. We managed to keep her life. I thought, I missed a big shot. I'm friends with powerful people here. I can get the best. And I did. I got the best professor in breast cancer from Dublin. I paid £50,000 for an experimental drug. I gave her an incredible. She went on to live 4 years, bless her. I can't understand it. Watching her coffin going into the ground. I was 32 years old. My mum was 56. And I had all this money in the big mansion. Thinking, flip. And I got my 3 little kids there looking at Nanny going in the ground, and thinking, none of this crap matters. None of this celebrity, superstar, money matters. Couldn't save my mother. Your health and your family have to come number one. If I lost everything tomorrow, as long as I got my wife and my 6 kids, I'm just fine.
Mm-hmm. Where do you go forward for the future, Matt?
I want to change as many people's lives as I possibly can. I've made my money by changing people's children, overcome stigmas and stop them being bullied at school. My goal now is to change people's lives financially, make as many people financially free as I possibly can in the world. That's my passion project, James. I still got to run all the other businesses and be involved in it and so on. They're like my family, my franchises are. But I started up this thing. It's called the Money Freedom Club. It's www.mf.club. It's only £10 a month, basically. And it's basically, I give people access to me at free events. So you don't get pitched to, no charge. So I bring my celebrity mates from my contact book. I've got one coming up. I've got some big name supermodels coming and multi-millionaires. Nigel Farage is coming as well. And yeah, open up my contact book to give back. I feel like I need to give back now to everyone who supported me over this mad journey I've been on for nearly 3 decades leading this industry. So it's not martial arts, but it's every sector in business and property. So I give back. I put these events on every 3 months. I've got one coming up. It's almost full out now. 300 people coming to Devon to hang out with me and Celebrity Pals, and we give them real content to give. We're not selling nothing, to go away. And I run this membership site. I enjoy it. I do 2 or 3 videos a week. When I got a spare time, I'll jump on a Zoom with them all, give them tremendous value. I love doing that. So my vision is to try and make as many people financially free in this world as I can. Not have to look at receipts. So I believe more divorces are caused by lack of money. Depression, people on depression tablets due to money problems. Bad relationships with the kids due to money. And I want to, for what I've learned from Michael and all these people, everything he's taught me, I want to pass it on. The stuff he don't teach you at school, college, university.
Mm-hmm. What's your biggest life lesson that you've learned so far?
Study the best of what you do, and then make yourself better.
Mm-hmm. For anybody that's watching, it's maybe in a life or struggle, you've surrounded yourself with people who've battled in life. What advice would you give for those who are in struggle right now?
Okay, well, I went through struggles just like anyone else. When I do stage talks, people sit forward when I talk about this. I don't think enough people who are entrepreneurs, gurus, talk about you are going to face challenges in life. From that period, I'm a human, right? Everything happened at once. Mum's dying. Michael died. Media evasion. Problems with my family. Being a single dad of 3 daughters, difficult. Living in a mansion on your own, weekends on your own, pacing the corridors at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking, where's all my mates? I lost a lot of mates when Mike died. And when you go for a split, family kind of side one way. Get your kids only once every couple of weeks when I'm used to seeing them every damn day. Christmas, we shut down for 2 weeks for our organisations that we have. From the 16th of December to the 7th of January, I'd see no one. Christmas Day on your own is not a pleasant experience. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but from Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, it was horrendous. I had 2 years like that. One time, I mean, I got people who look up to me, but I'll tell you the truth. I took sleeping pills and alcohol, and I checked myself into a hotel so no one could find me because everyone's like, oh, come hang out with me Christmas Day, but didn't want to be a sympathy act. Kind of isolated myself, I suppose. They say it's lonely as you grow your career. I slept from literally Christmas Eve right through to past Boxing Day, so I couldn't hear any Christmas music and stuff because it wasn't my turn to have my children that year. I was a single dad. It was just, I've had bad times. I've been on antidepressants, 2 lots of antidepressants. They prescribed me diazepam, which I became addicted to for 3 years. And my support network, my franchisees were fully behind me. But I'm a human being. I couldn't deal with it's like when you build your muscles up in the gym, the more weight you put on you gain muscle. Your mental muscles need to go. You're gonna have pain. You're gonna come up with challenges. Things are gonna go wrong. Loved ones are gonna die. People are gonna screw you over in business. That hurt me first time I got screwed over. Now it's just next. It's just life.
Sad though. Michael Jackson died alone, biggest star in the world. Elvis.
Yeah.
Again, you were suicidal. You've got everything materialistic. You've not speak to your brothers. Like
sad. Yeah. I'd love to speak to them again.
Is it worth it? Success.
If I could go back, I would have just got a normal job. Honestly,
you think we're tapped in because I want to be successful, but I know the sacrifice that comes with it because I speak to enough people to understand it's not everything, but yet we still crave it. I don't know if that's ego, pride. I don't know if it's greed because I still show gratitude. I still help others along the way, but it's a fucking constant battle because I know the tools and I know what it takes you, but there's just something ingrained to try and keep leveling up as well.
Yeah.
It's fucking
You don't
mad.
need the kind of wealth I've built. So if I had gone back, I would have, knowing what I know now, put myself on a plan to maybe earn 10 grand a month and have all the time with my kids and family without this massive pressure of running these big businesses. But then I do it to myself, James. I mean, I could have got out at 22. I didn't, but then what am I supposed to do? Everyone else goes to work. So, yeah. There's so many holidays you can take, innit? There's so many times you can take your missus to bed. In the day. I mean, come on. It's like, what'd you do with yourself? So I don't regret it because I've changed hundreds of thousands of people's lives through my career and influenced them and had an impact on the world. And I started off this whole martial arts business thing now, which has become the norm. However, yeah, I would have stuck it at maybe like, I don't want to admit it, but my rehearsal wife was right. Why can't you ever be satisfied? You got everything. I did have everything when in my mid-20s. I could have just chilled out a bit, took more holidays and focused on my house, spent more time with my mum. When in the last days, I could regret that because I had these big things to run. But yeah, it's learning. It's not regretting. I can pass that information on to people who won't make that error. So I don't regret it because I can pass that on to someone else.
Because there's videos doing the rounds on social media. If you only see your mum or dad once or twice a year and they've only got 10 or 20 years to go, that means you're only going to be with them another 10 or 20 times.
You don't know what's going to happen there all the time. It's like, and the amount of suicides, because I'm in the organisation, I'm linked to hundreds of thousands of people. Every day I hear of a different suicide hanging. It seems to be a bit of a trend at the minute. And we've lost friends actually recently. My wife's hairdresser just committed. She saw us the week before and then she committed suicide. Actually, my wife saw the day off when she did that night. I don't know. It's just different. Things are very different now. And I think, but I do believe in the law of attraction. Everything happens for a reason and it serves us. My life is carved its way. So now I can go back and teach lessons that no one else has had the life I've had. You couldn't make it up. You can't reincarnate that lessons from people. And I can now educate people on the School of Hard Knocks, which is the real life lesson. Forget about university. You want to be a doctor, lawyer, dentist, accountant, it's great. But otherwise, you want to learn business, you're going to be taught by a business lecturer who's never even owned a business before. How does that work? That's like going to a swimming instructor who doesn't have to freaking swim. So, yeah, I'm passionate about the education system being outdated. I want to do something about that.
What's all your social medias, Matt, for anybody that's want to get in contact or ask you questions, if you want to put it out there? For
Best
people
way
who want
to
to
get me, if they go to a website, go to www.mf.club, www.mf.club. All my socials on there. Instagram, Facebook, @official Matt Fiddes, @official MATTFIDDES. I'm a humble guy. I've not got VAs. Anyone's welcome to inbox me with any challenges or if they've got mental health problems or whatever. I'll be there on the phone. I love doing that type of stuff when I'm out walking and things. So feel free to reach out. And it's been a pleasure, James.
Yeah, Matt, would you like to finish up on anything else?
I just think at the moment, right, whenever you're watching this, times are tough, but times have always been tough. There's always been wars, but we've got more media now. So in our age, James, you're a similar age to me, we had the Gulf War when we were growing up, didn't we? And I heard my parents talking about that. We had the 1989 recession. You would have heard bits about that. My mum crying. Stay positive, dream it, believe it, achieve it. Try and block out the noise and be careful what you consume, especially in the current era on TikTok and podcasts. Watch the stuff that only is going to relate and benefit to your life. Be careful who you listen to. Don't take advice. Love your family, but don't take advice off your parents or grandparents, but love them. And whatever you do, whatever you put your mind to, just go for it. But put your health and family first.
Yeah, Matt, listen, for giving me the time, brother. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's unbelievable what you've came through in life and what you're doing now.
Thank you, sir.
I wish you nothing but the best for the future, mate. And again, thanks for coming on today.
Been a pleasure. Thank you.
Brother.